Roll call, please.
Trustee Brona.
Recording in progress.
Trustee Henderson.
Here.
Trustee Hoffman.
Here.
Trustee Eno.
Here.
Trustee Moreno.
Here.
Trustee Vella.
Here.
Trustee Vettis.
Here.
Student trustee Callahan.
Present.
We will now do flag salute. Trustee Eno will lead us in the flag salute. Everyone, please, if you could please stand.
Oh. Allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry.
Before we move to approve the order of business for today's meeting, Chancellor, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes, sir.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda and order of business?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Vella, second.
Second.
Trustee Eno, second. Any comments? None seen. Roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buona.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes. Just for audio team, I just want to make sure, can everyone hear our online trustees okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Moving on to section B, approval of minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the July 6, 2022, April 20th, 2022, December 18th, 2019, and September 15th, 2019 minutes.
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Hoffman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Trustee
Henderson.
Second, Trustee Henderson. Any comments? None seen. Roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buona.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Representative, section C, representative reports from representative employee organizations. Do any members of the resource table wish to be recognized at this time to make comments before the board?
Yeah.
Mr. McKeever. Dr. McKeever.
Either way, we're good. I want to thank Dr. Rahman and Stuart Suki, Dr. Rahman, the president of this campus, Stuart Suki, the newly elected president of ELAC, for having us here to their wonderful campus. Standing with me today, Julio, is Dr. Shigeru Julio Suha. He's a fellow sociology professor over at Los Angeles Pierce College. He's also the former director of the Dolores Huerta Labor Institute. Dr. Suha has been an exceptional faculty mentor to students, to many clubs, including IDEAS, where he put on a seminar for the community of undocumented people. You know, Chancellor Rodriguez, you were there. All right. He's also been a member of the faculty advisor for the sociology club, student interns. Julio's mentored countless students, has been a tireless advocate for our students and our communities. It's what drives him. I want to share something with you all. Every single year, Dr. Suha and I, who both teach at Pierce College, who share many of the same students, have a graduation ritual. We go to the graduation together, and we stand there often 2-3 hours after graduation, waiting till every single student wants to come up with their parents, all right, or their family or loved ones. And we tell them how amazing those students are. And we take pictures with every single one of them. Sometimes we're there till 9 o'clock at night, and it's our favorite time of year. So I want to thank people like Dr. Suha, because he's just one of many that do this on our campus and our campuses all around. So while this is unique, this is a practice of many to care about our students in this way. And this is why many of us, most of us, the majority of us do what we do. We love our students and we love our communities. We also share many fine students. One of them I want to tell the story of is Emily Andrade. Emily Andrade came here, or she was born here, but she had immigrant parents who came over here. And while she went to high school, she was highly intelligent, but struggled in her senior year. They lived in a small home that was too small for her family. She ended up, in order to create some privacy for herself, she made a moderately sized closet into a bedroom, right? Just so that she would have some place to sleep and have some privacy to her own. She used to work over 20 hours on the weekdays at the campus. And on the weekends, another 20 hours plus with her father doing construction work. She graduated from Pierce on time with honors. You know, Chancellor Rodriguez. Chancellor Rodriguez, you had the pleasure of meeting Emily way back when. She was our commencement speaker. She went on to graduate from UCSB 2 years later, University of California, Santa Barbara, and now is planning on going to CSUN and just debating on if she wants to get a degree in sociology so she can take my place and I can retire over there at Pierce College, or get a degree in counseling. But either way, she wants to come back to the community college to be of service to the students in the future. I want to now turn to something else I witnessed last week, and it's the power of the community itself and the integration of the community and the community college and the community college into the community itself. I was invited by Dr. Sandra Lee, the president of Southwest College, the Faculty Guild president of Southwest College, to witness a different kind of homecoming. They were welcoming Dr. Anthony Culpepper back to the campus as the new president of Southwest College. And I call this a homecoming because he was from that neighborhood. He was born and raised in that neighborhood. He went to Southwest College, and then he went on to Dominguez Hills before he went on to go get his higher degrees. So he was from that neighborhood from the very beginning. He was welcomed by a group that was called the Los Angeles Southwest College Community Coalition, a group that's made up of community-based organizations, as well as the bargaining units for the AFT 1521 Faculty Guild and 1521A Staff Guild. And they had a little event for him to support him and help him be successful. And this was really important. The community doesn't reach into the campus, but the campus also reaches back out to the community. Because what they did with this coalition is now the campus is also helping these community-based organizations with issues in the surrounding neighborhood. And this makes this community what I like to call, this community college, a community hub. This is what I ran on, is that I wanted to see all our campuses become community hubs. We're already seeing this in practice at Southwest College. And I'm hoping that we can see how this works out with them and use this as a model for our other campuses. Now, there's something I noticed with our enrollments for the fall, right? While we're still struggling, some campuses are starting to level off and they're doing actually better than they did last year. Out of all the campuses, Southwest College has the highest increase of students percentage-wise from last year. They're up to 137%. Now, this could be coincidental, but it also could be the integration of the community college into the community and the integration of the community back into the college. I'm hoping for success for Dr. Culpepper in his tenure there. I'm hoping that he is also chosen as the permanent president in the future, if he is successful, because his success is our success. His success is our students' success. His success is our community's success. His failure is a failure to all of us. Thank you very much.
All right. Is there a representative from local 99 or 721 or 1521A? Sorry, we have small screens up here.
I don't see them.
Okay. Angela Echeverri?
Hello.
President.
Hello.
Yes, of our Faculty Senate.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I just want to make a few remarks about our future plans. And as the district is working to increase its enrollment and plan for the future after COVID, it's important to recognize the growing educational problems in the communities that we serve. Very recently, the LA Times published an article about the LA Unified School District, and they estimate that up to 20,000 students are not enrolled or stopped attending school last year. Many of these students are caring for their younger siblings or working one or two jobs to make ends meet. The LAUSD is also confronting a worsening daily attendance problem. Data from March of this year shows that nearly half of LAUSD students, more than 200,000 students, were chronically absent during the last school year. The pandemic-related learning loss is disproportionately affecting English learners, students of color, those with disabilities, students living in poverty, and the unhoused. So I think it's really important for us to understand that with the impending passage of AB 1705, the mission of our colleges will shift dramatically. And it's going to make it extremely difficult to serve students who might benefit from pre-transfer level math and English courses. So I hope that as we move forward, we can have those difficult discussions and also acknowledge that unless we push back against this legislation, that we are going to shrink our footprint forever, and thousands upon thousands of students are going to be disenfranchised. And I know that we can do better, and I hope we can all work together to serve our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, are there representatives from local 99?
Yes.
Okay,
Good
Chris.
afternoon.
you are on, Chris.
Okay. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor. My name is Chris Sanos and I represent SCAU Local 99. I want to bring a concern to you. I know I have addressed this concern several times, but our members continue to experience issues with being bullied and harassed at the work sites. This is a problem because not only does it affect the well-being of our members, but it affects the operational aspect of the job. When employees feel they are working in an environment that is hostile, dysfunctional, and toxic, it affects the morale, attendance, and work productivity. To give an example, last month, a valuable employee and member from City College and plant facilities resigned because of the bullying and harassment they were experiencing with their supervisor. The management failed to address the situation and failed to show any concern or follow up to see why the employee decided to resign so abruptly. The employee has submitted resignation papers stating that why they had left. Another example, at Trade Tech, our members have complained and documented concerns regarding how they've been mistreated from administration all the way down to supervision and plant facilities, and nothing has been done to address their concerns with the bullying and harassment. There was a vote of no confidence documented and submitted to the district office and human resource on behalf of SCAU Local 99, I believe twice, regarding the same custodial supervisor bullying and harassing the employees at Trade. And nothing has been done to address this matter. In fact, members have said that the custodial supervisor boasts to them how they filed a complaint with the district and nothing was done to them. In other words, management just laughed at the situation because they knew, it wouldn't lead nowhere. We've had members resign as a result of the B-shift elimination at Trade, but for other reasons also. There was an employee who resigned from Trade Tech because of the dysfunctional work environment, and he said they were being sexually harassed by the same custodial supervisor, and complaints were filed by the district and nothing was done to address the supervisor's behavior. And members at Trade have complained that when they have payroll issues, they feel uncomfortable addressing their issues with the payroll department because certain individuals in the department have such a hostile and unprofessional attitude. And members have called me crying about how, they're being mistreated by some of these supervisors. And sometimes it's not just a supervisor, it could be a coworker or a district employee from another department. Lastly, our members are being threatened with an illegal document to bully and harass our members. The point is, not enough is being done by the district to address this hostile conduct in the workplace. Our members tends to get blamed for a lot of things. However, we're not the blame for a lot of this madness that goes on in the district. We're just the fall guy. The employees are only as good as the leadership that runs this district. And if there's no accountability for people actions who causes disruption in the workplace, such as bullying, harassing, and abusing their power, then the district will continue to get hit with grievances and paying out lawsuits with our taxpayers' dollars. And what's disturbing to me is that the solution is very simple. Establish a policy, a resolution that addresses non-sexual bullying and harassment in the workplace. This is where we have the most issues. And the district needs to hold anyone that's in a leadership position accountable for ensuring that bullying and harassment is not tolerated in the district. The district needs to actively get involved, actively do something to hold management accountable for the negative environment they create and stop pushing important issues under the rug. And I want to know, when are you, as the Board of Trustees, board members who represent the district, is going to address this concern? What are you waiting for? What is it going to take for you to take these concerns seriously? Someone to actually get hurt or killed, or maybe even kill themselves because they couldn't, take the situation anymore? We don't know, what people are capable of doing and why. And this is why it's important to address this matter. I've been speaking at these board meetings about the same concern, and I know you don't care about these issues because nothing hasn't been done about it. However, I do care. And I'm going to continue to speak up about bullying and harassment in the workplace until you do something or something happens to one of our members so we can put the blame on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Ms. Harrington?
Good afternoon, President Buelna, members of the board, and Chancellor Rodriguez. I am Dr. Deborah Harrington, and I am pleased and honored to report that I am the new acting president of the Teamsters, representing our district deans. Thank you, Trustee Hoffman. I have been in the LACCD since 1996. I entered as a full-time English professor at Valley College, and then I originated and have been serving in the role of the district's dean for student success since 2007. I'd like to begin my remarks by extending my congratulations to Dr. Mary Jo Opigo, who is stepping into her new role as interim vice president of academic affairs at Pierce College. And on a personal note, I would just like to say, as a native-born fan and in memory of all the games I attended with my dad at Chavez Ravine, right, with that unmistakable voice wafting over the transistor radios, I just want to say that I know all of us are a little Dodger blue today. As we proceed into this new academic year, our members look forward to getting together our negotiations team and meeting with management to revise our Teamsters CBA before the current one expires in June. I'd like to absolutely affirm our members' deep commitment to the work we perform every day in service and support of student access, success, equity, and completion. The deans across our district have proven not only to be productive and proactive in addressing the challenges and opportunities of the last couple of years, but have embraced wholeheartedly the new normal, balancing productivity with flexibility. So I will conclude my remarks by stressing how much our members additionally look forward to reviewing the forthcoming telecommuting procedures and participating in effects bargaining. So thanks, and happy to join you all.
Thank you very much, and welcome to representative from 1521A. Anyone from 1521A? Anyone from 721? Okay, thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to the next item, public comment. Oh, we're not ignoring the presidents. That was just a test of the Chancery pass. We received the Chancery's report, which includes activities of the colleges from the college presidents. Do any of the presidents wish to further comment or highlight anything that's included in the written report? Maybe we should start with our host, East Los Angeles College. Dr. Roman, where's Dr. Roman? Oh, Dr. Roman is right there.
Thank you so much, President Buelna, trustees. Welcome again to East Los Angeles College. We're happy to have you here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to be very, very brief. I want to make you aware of some key enrollment events that are happening in the month of August. You're all welcome to attend. The focus of these is not only to bring the students on campus and provide them information, but actually register them. They're not leaving the event without being registered, enrolled. We have tomorrow, August 4th, our first event here at the Monterey campus from 10 to 2. August 9th will be virtual. We already have over 300 students who have signed up for the virtual registration event. That's happening from 10 to 2. On August 13th, we'll be here. I think all colleges will be hosting events that day, 9 to 1. And on August the 20th, we'll be hosting our registration event at the Southgate Educational Center, or Southgate campus from 9 to 1. So again, pushing for enrollment. These are critical events for us to make the final push towards the fall of 22. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Dr. Roman, no, Dr. Roman, don't.
Yes, President Buena.
Okay. So, because we get your daily enrollment reports and you seem to be at around 200 to 250 enrollments per day. Am I correct?
It's probably more in the ballpark of 300 to 400 per day.
Okay, maybe my math is wrong. Right now, you're at 12,907 in head count. Your numbers seem to be increasing. What is leading? Are you seeing a trend? Is it our marketing? Is it a trend that you're seeing? But there seems to be a trend happening with enrollment. What are you seeing out there? What's your gut? What's your instinct?
Thank you for that. Well, historically, a good percentage of our students tend to enroll within the last 2 weeks of the fall. In fact, in the last 2 years I've been here, we've jumped 3 to 4 percentage points over the weekend before the fall. You do get more students enrolling. I think what's helped the most for us has been really the phone calls we're making. We have targeted lists that we've set up and we're calling on a daily basis. We have phone banks that are here. We have faculty, staff, and administrators calling daily. Really the high touch strategies, President Buena, if I can share, have been probably the best way to reach students. We're leaving voicemails, we're following up. And then when we realize what the barrier is, whether it's counseling, A&R, financial aid, on the back end, in live time, there's a counselor or a student services rep following up with those students. So we think that's working. There is a lot of obviously ground to gain between now and we feel confident we'll make significant gains in the last 3 weeks. But again, it's those phone calls we're making that I think are having the highest impact.
Thank you. And with 27 days left, and just in general, do you see momentum increase as we get to day one? But like what generally has occurred? And are you seeing more momentum this semester or less momentum or
Yes.
What do you see?
Yeah. Actually, yes to both. More momentum this time around than we've seen in the past. I think the majority of us, if not all of us, will probably reach last year's enrollment levels and then some. And I do anticipate, even on the in-person classes, we're seeing more students actually interested in taking in-person classes. Our average class size for in-person is significantly higher than it was last semester. So we're seeing more students wanting to come back in person. Our online asynchronous classes and are doing very well, but we are gaining significant momentum. We didn't see this back in fall of last year. I think students are ready to come back. And I'll tell you, we're seeing numbers that are even higher than pre-pandemic numbers in 2019. Our dual enrollment numbers are higher already than what they were in 2019, spring of 2019, which is pre-pandemic. So there's definitely momentum moving in the right directions. Our public service academies are now higher than they were pre-pandemic numbers. But again, we got still some significant work to do in the next 3.5 weeks. So we're all working on this and all hands on deck.
Thank you. And trustees, I just deviated a bit only because our host was here. We get those daily reports on a weekly basis. Are there any 5-second questions that you may want to ask President Roman? I generally extended it to Trustee Eno. I knew you were looking over here, but so Trustee Eno.
Well, I don't really have a question, rather a comment. I did take a 2-hour tour prior to the board meeting today. Thank you to President Roman for inviting a diverse group of folks on the campus to really tell me about what ELAC's about and what they do. And I would just like to wholeheartedly say thank you. The culture on this campus and what you represent and pushing the envelope and everything you're doing, it sounds wonderful. And I plan to come back to help participate.
Thank you so much, Trustee Eno. It was a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you, President Roman. So let's go to the other college presidents.
Trustee Buona, I have my hand up.
Oh, I apologize. It's
Minute.
blended. The yellow and the purple don't do well for blending there.
Very well. Thank you, Dr. Ramon. It's really exciting for me to see you here.
Thank you.
I'm virtual, but to see you at East LA College, and you're doing a splendid job, and just reinforces the fact that we made a good choice with you. You mentioned that we get daily enrollment reports, Chair Buona, but I'm not so sure I've received those. So do you know where are those coming from? And maybe they're going into my spam file, or are those just going to the board president? Can we make sure we're all included?
You know, I'll make sure. Last year, Trustee Hoffman, I requested to be added to the list. So I'll make sure, and Chancellor's right here, that all the trustees get added to the list. In fact, Sui missed the report on Friday, and she said, I took a day off. That's how much we're paying attention to those reports.
I'm not so sure that we need them daily. Is there a way to just get them maybe weekly? Is there, or is it all or nothing?
They go out daily. So
Okay, then add me to the list, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And I'll do this, unless a trustee tells me that they don't want to be added to the list, we'll just go ahead and add everyone to the list. Okay. Any other trustee have any other comment? And again, I deviated, so my apologies, but President Roman was here. Student trustee.
Yeah, so I have a comment also regarding the daily enrollments. So obviously us as trustees, we have the privilege of getting to see those daily enrollments, but is that information that's also available to the public, or is it just put out for further analysis after the enrollment stage is over, for people to request the enrollment numbers? Just so we can, just like looking back in hindsight to say, okay, well, you know, we did well in fall 2022. So is this publicly available, or is it specifically for the presidents and the board of trustees?
I'll let Chancellor who gets those daily reports.
I'm sorry, student trustee, I missed the latter part of the question. Can you repeat that? I want to hear it clearly.
Oh, it's just, are the daily reports as far as enrollment numbers, are they available to the public, or is it strictly the privilege of the board of trustees?
No, it's a public document. Sure.
Public document?
Sure. It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's something we use for internal planning purposes, just to monitor our reports, our days before the enrollment begins, and we compare it to several, the same time period a year before. It's just at a glance, you could see where each college is by number of sections, by the average class size, the head count, and then the actual unit load that each of the colleges are carrying.
Thank you. If I could add, Chancellor, a lot of our websites, student trustee, have the data there through our Office of Institutional Research. So there, I think even the district might have some public data on enrollments that are updated regularly.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, we have lots of dashboards.
Yes, a lot of dashboards.
Yeah, the only issue with that is that some of the websites aren't as easy to navigate through, so it's maybe difficult for people to actually see or get access to that. So I was just clarifying.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, as we head to the other presidents, and I'm not sure if the other presidents are going to get this many questions, but you were here in front of us, Dr. Roman. President Dorado, you were going to put your hand up.
Yes, I was. Thank you, President Buona. So thank you for the opportunity. Just like Dr. Roman, we continue with our early decision days with a little twist. We're doing phone calls. We're also calling the newly applied students. So those students that have barely applied, we're calling them and inviting them to our early decision days so that we could get them registered and ready for the fall. I want to continue to invite you to our TransferCon 4 that's scheduled for August 23rd, followed by Harbor Palooza. On September 10th, we are hosting LAUSD South Area College Fair here at Harbor College. And our high school on campus will be celebrating 20 years on that day in partnership with Harbor College. And then to top it off, in October, we're gonna have our Reggie Run for Education. So if you're ready to run a 5K or walk it, please join us and we'll get that more information out to you guys. So thank you for the opportunity to report.
Thank you very much. President Aguilar from Pierce College.
Thank you. And Good afternoon, Trustee and Chancellor Rodriguez. I wanted to just quickly share out a new program at Pierce I'm really excited about. It's a job readiness non-credit program. It's called Careers for a Cause. We have 50 students enrolled in the program. It's a 6-week long project. The students that are participants have experienced homelessness, justice involved, have substance abuse, domestic violence, and we support them in addition to taking the class by facilitating housing for them, finding financial resources, food, bus and metro and gas cards, laptops. Upon completion, they get support with job placement, and they get weekly stipends. And this is all being done with our partners, Amity, the Pantry, and the Dress for Success. And just this week, I walked into the dean's office, Dr. Sharon Dalmash, and she had bags of career clothing and Michael Kors bags for our students. So it's very exciting for Pierce. It's going to be a winner. We plan to continue to do this kind of program for our students in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. President Culpepper.
Oh, Dr. Buelna, can I ask just a very quick question?
Yes, very quick question.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. Question, are you accepting gently used career clothes, or are you just only using new clothing? Because I got a closet full.
Okay, well, we are, so do I, trust me. Absolutely, that is one of our goals, upcoming goals for this fall, is to actually have a career closet for our students, similar to, I know what West has embedded in other colleges. I think Valley also has a career closet. So yes, please, anytime, we're getting ready, so yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. President Culpepper.
Thank you, President Buelna. Just as the other college presidents have made it known, we are focused on ensuring that our community knows about our enrollment days. We've already had 2. We're looking forward to the other enrollment days that we have planned for the 6th and the 13th. And so we're also looking forward to not only this fall and encouraging students to come back from the community. We're also putting a full court press in play. We're looking at visiting all of the high schools and looking at and visiting with the administrators and the principals to encourage them to have their high schoolers continue to plan in our service area to attend Southwest College. And so we're looking beyond the fall, and we're looking toward the spring as we continue to solidify the foundation for our enrollment growth. So we're proud of all the work that our Student Services Department has done and all the others who have engaged in increasing our enrollment thus far. We're on a great path, and so we're looking to solidify that path as we move forward. We invite all of you to come to the meet and greet that we have planned, as well as to the principal's breakfast that we also have planned coming up in the next coming months. And so we'll keep you abreast of those days. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations on that. We really appreciate it. President Gibbons.
Yeah, thank you so much. Similarly to the other presidents, we are looking forward to our next enrollment fairs. We have 3 planned for the rest of the month, and we're continuing to get our fresh color system dialed in to ensure that students are receiving excellent service in person, online through Cranium Cafe and Zoom, and through Fresh Collar and Fresh Desk. So all those efforts are going really well. I mentioned last time that President Ornelas and I met with LD&E and developed some what I think are amazing plans for next year, and helping every local high school student complete their FAFSA, CCC apply, and then helping them to enroll in the upcoming year. We're working to extend those efforts to Burbank Unified. So that's going to be our next step that we're excited about. But I believe that high touch approach is going to be really impactful in ensuring that our local high school students go to college. And then the last thing I want to mention is just that we received another $60,000 grant from the Hollywood Foreign Press. So we're deeply appreciative of their support for our students in our program.
All right.
Thank you very much. congratulations. We're gonna do, I'll just name the next colleges that are gonna go in order. It'll be Mission with President Ornelas, City, President Gallagher, West, President Limbaugh, then Trade with Interim President Miller. That way, everyone can just go ahead and follow, and you can, I don't have to call.
Good afternoon, President Buelna, members of the board, Chancellor Rodriguez. Quick update. The college continues to host 2 enrollment one-stop events each week where students can come in person and have all the wraparound services available to them. Just as my colleagues have mentioned, we're all gearing up for our Saturday enrollment event, August 13th. And at Mission College, it's not only our enrollment event, but in addition, we're hosting an open house for or a grand opening for our adult ed center. We're really excited about it. We sort of reconstituted space and made it so that our adult ed students can come in and have all of the services available to them in one place. And to complement that grand opening, we are also hosting on the same day a community resource fair where to date, we probably have close to 25 nonprofit organizations that have RSVP'd to participate on the 13th. So lots going on at Mission College. Our Assemblywoman Luz Rivas will also be there with the press conference where she will be announcing her generous gift to the college for $10 million. So invite you all to join us. Again, lots happening on the 13th. And then finally, I do want to share that we recently solidified a partnership with Puck Schools. Partnerships Uplift Communities. They are a consortium of charter schools that serve primarily the Northeast San Fernando Valley. And they're interested in partnering with us for adult ed, dual enrollment, senior activities. So lots of activities going on there as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And before we go to the next person, I forgot at East Los Angeles College on Friday, there's a press event at the Boyle Heights Technology Center with Assemblyman Santiago. It's important to recognize we're talking partnerships, and that's a perfect segue into Dr. Gallagher.
Thank you so much, Board President Buelna, trustees, and Chancellor Rodriguez. I'm happy to share with you today a focus on the community work that we've been doing to get fully re-engaged with our community. So I'm happy to tell you today that we just had an animation boot camp for 40 LAUSD high school students complete today. They brought their families to see the culmination of their work. This boot camp was 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, over 6 weeks. They all attended, they all completed, and the culmination was a movie that was out of this world. So that was great today. And we had families there celebrating with their students. So it was awesome. A couple of weeks ago, we also had a special program for middle school students from across LAUSD. They came into a 2-week entrepreneurship program here. And that culminated with a Shark Tank-like presentation that each of the groups of students made. And they were awarded prizes for the top 3 presentations. The energy here on campus that Friday was incredible. We had great partners from business and industry here to see what these students were doing. So this was a lot of fun, and I know they'll want to do it again. Also, a couple of weeks ago, we got together with our community partner, the Korean Youth Community Center, KYCC. And I want to thank Trustee Eno for joining us for that great event. We went to do an enrollment fair with KYCC on a Saturday. Thanks to Assembly Member Santiago, who helped us to arrange that. And since that Saturday, we have been there every week to enroll students from that community. And something very, very exciting that happened for us about 5 weeks ago is that the Navasartan Game and Festival came back to LACC after being gone for 30 years. They were here over 3 days. There were 30,000 people here over 3 days. It was very, very exciting on campus for that period. Finally, I want to share a couple of really important things that we've been working on with you, and that is our augmented and virtual reality program. We had 50 faculty members from across disciplines build content in augmented and virtual reality. We had 1,100 students participate in utilizing that resource to help in their classes. The results were phenomenal to us. So we've got another 50 staff and faculty in another group that we just started last week. So we're really happy that's moving forward. Finally, I want to share with you that the California Student Aid Commission reached out to us about 2 weeks ago. There was a program for students to apply for additional resources. We had by far the highest number of students who applied for these additional resources in the entire state. So they reached out to us to find out what we did and how we were able to garner so many students who applied for these resources, and we're happy to share what we've done. So we will be having an enrollment extravaganza on the 13th as well, and we're looking very forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Limbaugh. Dr. Gallagher. Dr. Limbaugh.
Yes, well, I'm Jim Gallagher, the president of West Los Angeles College.
No comment.
Sorry, I couldn't help that. I apologize. Trustee Buelna, or President Buelna, members of the board, and Chancellor Rodriguez. Much like my fellow presidents, we're also pulling out all the stops for enrollment, including nudging campaigns, outreach to the 1,500 students who did not return. We're looking at the value of the many cohorts we're going to additionally enroll. Our numbers don't show the new enrollments in film and TV and aviation, for example. We've also rearranged our outreach initiatives to align it with our brand new Welcome Center so we can have a combination of effects there. But the thing I really wanted to say to you all was thank you. I'd like to thank the Chancellor, Maria Veloz, and all of you for your support in obtaining the funding for the Climate Change Education Center at West. We're already developing partnerships with the UCs and CSUs. They have a climate literacy project they're doing. Exploring with Altac, which is a nonprofit that is looking at blue economy opportunities to partnership there. So I've had calls from across the state about ways that we can engage community college students with the very important efforts in climate change education. I believe this is going to be a game changer for West, the district, and the entire state in terms of developing community college education in the field of climate change. And I could not have done it without you all. So from all of us here at West, thank you.
Thank you, President Limbaugh. Last but not least, Dr. Bob Miller, Interim President, Trade Tech.
Thank you, President Buelna. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Chancellor Rodriguez. And let me just start by saying thank you for the opportunity to be back on a campus and to be of service in this way. Trade is truly a wonderful college with truly dedicated and skilled and committed faculty and staff who truly support our engaged and motivated students. I've noticed that even in the few short days I've been here. The college has an amazing pedigree and an even more amazing future in support of the greater Los Angeles region. And again, in my short few days here and a little bit last week, there's an energy and a vibrancy on this campus that cannot be denied. So it is truly my honor and pleasure to briefly lead and assist this college as it transitions to its next level of greatness and student success. With that said, just a few quick updates. Like my colleague presidents, there's a lot of activity around the fall open house. We already have well over 400 students registered. We will have tables and booths and all kinds of activities surrounding our 9 pathways, as well as strong workforce, the LA College Promise, Umoja, Puente, CalWorks, and several others. It's incredible faculty engagement, as well as staff and others involved. So we're looking forward to a really great event. We also have 2 what they call roll-in to enroll events on Thursday, August 18th and Thursday, August 25th from 9 to 2 p.m. And then virtual application and registration workouts, workshops throughout the rest of this month. In other trade news, quickly, the On June 20th to 24th, the 3 of Trade Tech's culinary students participated in the Skills USA National Championship competition in Atlanta. We are proud to say that Trade Tech was represented quite well on the national stage, including one of our students, Francisco Hernandez, who was awarded the silver medal in culinary arts.
Right.
Yeah, it's really quite incredible. Like I said, this is an incredible place, folks. And then I'm very excited, and I'm actually going to be meeting, I hope next week, with Edison International. Many of you may have already heard, but they have announced their 2022 Line Worker Scholarship winners. 12 aspiring line workers were selected to receive $25,000 each for tuition, tools, and support services for their training right here at Trade Tech, which is quite amazing. Edison launched the Line Worker Scholarship Program in 2021 in participating with our IBEW brothers and sisters, Local 47, to promote greater diversity among our Southern California Edison line workers. So that's a great new partnership, which we will endeavor to support and nurture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I do have to acknowledge that those are lifetime jobs that, you know, will affect generations of those individuals who have that opportunity. And congratulations to everyone at Trade Tech and throughout our district for making that possible.
Trustee Buena?
Yes, sir.
I do want to recognize Edison. You know, they're active here at ELAC Monterey Park on our foundation board. And I don't know if you remember Irma Herrosinimo from Congresswoman Linda Sanchez's office. She's now heading the philanthropy over at Edison, and she's the one that contacted interim President Bob Miller to move the line worker scholarship program forward. So want to shout out to Edison.
Thank you, Trustee Vela, for mentioning those partnerships and relationships again are extremely important. Again, are there any additional comments from did I miss anyone, Chancellor?
No, you got it.
Okay, all right. Seeing nothing, we're going to move to section D of the agenda, public comment. Are there any persons signed up to address the board trustees regarding regularly agenda items? Guadalupe, you gave me a list of 8 individuals. Are there any more?
Yes, sir. No, this is right now. This is all we have. We have
That's all we have?
We have 6 actually that are signed up to speak and 2 that provided written comment.
Okay, understood. So the first one we're going to go with. So just to be very clear, everyone has 3 minutes, either if you're online or in person right here at East Los Angeles College. Understand your time because we will, Lupe here will have a buzzer, okay? So first person is Benjamin Resnick. Mr. Resnick. And if you could just introduce yourself and the item, okay?
And where's the clock?
I've got, when you start speaking, I'll start it. I've got it here. I'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
Lupe.
And welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Resnick. I'm a partner at the law firm of Jeffrey Mangles, Butler and Mitchell, and we're here representing Hackman Capital. I'm here to talk about item X9. And first of all, it's an honor to be in front of the Board of Trustees. First time I'm actually representing something before you. Unfortunately, today I'm here to ask you not to take action. And here is why. You've been following this particular RFP, as you well know. There are 3 of the 4 bidders have now filed protests. You might say, well, that sounds like sour grapes. They're losers. They didn't get it. Contrary, please look at the facts and what's going on. So I don't have enough time to cover all the flaws, the fundamental flaws in this RFP, but I'm going to give you one example, and then I'm going to tell you why you should not act today. So the RFP itself on page 6, section B says, this is to be, quote, primarily an office development, end quote. Everyone understood that. Low Enterprises, Lincoln Properties, Hackman Capital all submitted office projects, except one, Hudson. Hudson submitted a project that is 296,000 square feet of studios, sound stages, production facilities, only 251,000 square feet of office, 45% office, 53% non-office. So now the other bidders are saying, well, why didn't we get a chance to do that? Because if you change the project from what you put in the RFP, the economics change, the rents change, the cost structure change, the timing changes. What staff's recommending now for you to enter into an ENA with is a project that was never contemplated by any of the bidders. It was not contemplated in the RFP, and it was not even contemplated by the community, Raintree neighborhood, that just sent you an email saying, what the heck is going on? They're upset. So the point is, if the district wanted to change its mind on what the project should look like, it should have made that opportunity available to the other bidders. So everybody could have come in with a studio project, but that's not what the RFP called for. And that's a fundamental flaw. And so as a result, what you have is a staff report asking you to proceed into an ENA on a project that wasn't identified in the RFP, but you don't even have the backup to supporting the staff. What do I mean by that? What you have is a staff report that just identifies what the project categories were, that tells you gives you the renderings, nothing about how they ranked these people, these 4 bidders. All you have is their conclusion, their ranking. A ranking is a conclusion. Your charter, the RFP says it's your obligation as the trustees to exercise your independent judgment and make this award. This award is yours to make, not the staff. This is strictly a staff recommendation. How can you exercise any independent judgment and value this if you don't know what the background is? How did they get to scoring sheets? How did they get to where they got to? So you're being asked to rubber stamp a recommend. I'm sorry, but my time up, Mr.
Time's up. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll be here and when you get to the item to answer any questions or hopefully conclude any comments we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mike Racine.
Hello, board. Thank you for your time. I'm speaking on agenda item X9, same as Mr. Resnick. My name is Michael Racine. I'm an EVP of Hackman Capital and a member of the team that prepared the submission for 10100 Jefferson. Our company has followed the project since roughly 2007. In that time, we developed the Apple Beats campus and the Amazon studios, both which were referenced in your RFP. Culver City is also our company headquarters, and we own 10150 Jefferson, which abuts your property. Our organization has raised real concerns, as have all the other bidders, regarding the RFP process and its transparency. We were put in a position where we had no choice but to protest this vote. The initial staff recommendation came on the eve of Memorial Day weekend and was not more than a couple sentences without a report. And the expectation was the board would vote on this item the following week. Staff told us we had 5 days to protest or lose that right. So we did. The vote was continued to the next holiday weekend of July 4th. We continued to ask for information to support their recommendations, and the vote was again continued. It was not until July 19th that the staff produced a report. However, that report was a mere ranking of the proposals and not a scoring sheet as required by the RFP. It was conclusory, and the materials were merely a summary, not an analysis. Now, we have great respect for all of the other proposers, and they're all qualified for this project. These comments are not intended to disparage Hudson or its people, as they're qualified, and I'm sure they worked hard, as we all did. These are simply the facts. The RFP was clear that only one development program be provided, and Hudson provided 2, while all of the other bidders offered 1. Further, the RFP was explicit that the development must be primarily office, which is what the other bidders provided. The proposal that staff is recommending is primarily a studio. How can that be the recommendation when it's in direct conflict with the instructions of the RFP? In short, we impress upon the board to either restart this process or continue this vote until a thorough and satisfactory review and analysis of all of the proposals is provided so that the board can make an informed decision. To say it more simply, how can you select a winner when you don't know the score? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Russell Monkarsh.
Hello, I'm also speaking on agenda item X9. My name is Russell, and I'm an associate at Hackman Capital Partners and part of the team that prepared the 10100 Jefferson proposal. The process of determining what to do with this property dates back to 2007, and Hackman Capital has spent a tremendous amount of time, effort, and money up to this point. Speaking on behalf of the company and having an inside perspective, I can say with confidence that the company's greatest objective is creating a feasible project that will enhance the educational components of the college with focus on the educational programs. As the largest independent studio owner and operator in the world, Hackman Capital Partners and its affiliate Manhattan Beach Studios have programs across the globe that illustrate the commitment to providing students in underrepresented communities opportunities to learn and grow. HCP and MBS already have in place programs and initiatives that directly address the objectives laid out in the RFP. These programs already in place seek to help the media industry achieve diversity and inclusion by providing job training, mentorship, internships, job placement, and financial assistance to students who aspire to work within the entertainment industry. In fact, Hackman Capital Partners and Manhattan Beach Studios already works with both Hollywood CPR and the Motion Picture Television Production Program, and this existing relationship could be further built upon with the district. As the owners of the adjacent property located at 10150 Jefferson Boulevard, Hackman Capital Partners would be able to provide a temporary but immediate campus for the MPTPP program and the West LA College until the more permanent building is built around the corner. Further, partnerships and programs I spoke about could begin immediately, ultimately benefiting not only the West LA College students, but also the entire district student body sooner. Additionally, it should not be overlooked that feasibility was stated as an important component in the RFP. Hackman Capital Partners has studied this project for more than a decade and has a deep firsthand knowledge of site conditions due to its ownership of the adjacent property. There are challenges to development posed by the oil wells and the large sewer systems that crisscross the site. These impediments cannot practically be built upon. Hackman Capital Partners' deep understanding of the existing site conditions and these constraints have resulted in a right-sized proposed development plan that is realistic and reflects a project that can actually be executed upon. The feasibility of all the proposers' plans should be carefully evaluated in relation to current site constraints. As a long-term Culver City stakeholder and adjacent property owner, HCP urges all board members to ensure they have a full understanding of the proposal submitted and the process that is currently being ran. Our proposal contains significant and life-changing educational work benefits to the students within the MPTPP and Hollywood CPR programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jeffrey Cooper.
Thank you. My name is Jeffrey Cooper. As a former mayor elected twice serving Culver City from 2010 through 2018, one thing that I and my colleagues strived for on council was to always be inclusive to the community and always work towards better communication and transparency with all parties involved in really any decision making. This process to find a developer for the 10100 Jefferson property was not run with transparency. No opportunity to understand any of the proposals, with the exception of one short board meeting that occurred in May, happened. Ultimately, no analysis provided to the community as to why the staff recommended Hudson, nor an explanation of the deficiencies of any of the other proposals were, released. This is not transparent. It smells really of being purposely evasive in the decision-making and providing as little content back to the community as possible. That's not what all of you on this board and all of you trustees want. I know that. I ask you, the trustees of the board, to rescind your recommendation, start the process over in a much more open to the public environment with greater outreach and detail in the decision-making process. Thank you, and I appreciate all of your service.
Thank you very much. Daniel Friedman.
Yes, good afternoon, honorable members of the Board of the Trustees. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all your time, and I do want like my colleagues and those who spoke before me, thank you for your service to our community and to the community college district. With that said, I do want to say my name is Daniel Friedman. Myself and my partner Ben Resnick and Julia Consoli Chansfold. We are with the law firm of Jeffer Mangles, Butler and Mitchell, and we represent Hackman Capital, and we are supporting them in their protest of the item proposed to be awarded on agenda number X9. I would like to echo my partner's Ben Resnick's concerns, and I want to make it very clear what this issue is, and make it also very clear that this is not a matter of just one bidder being confused or being sour about what is happening. I'd like to point out that first off, Hackman Capital is not the only bidder that is protesting. Other bidders of the four have also submitted protests, and they have echoed the primary concern that Mr. Resnick raised. The concern that the one bidder that is being proposed as being the recommended bidder is the only bidder to propose a studio project. Now, this isn't just a minor change in the project design. If you open up attachment C to your staff report, you'll see that the Hudson Pacific Properties proposal includes 174,000 square feet of studio space. There's other studios, there's sound stages and there's production offices as well, but there's 174,000 square feet of studio space. The Lowe proposal has 0. The Hackman Capital's proposal has 0. LPC West's proposal has 0. No one knew this is what apparently the district wanted. And this is the concern that my partner was raising, is that either the RFP instructions were inaccurate or the district changed its mind about what type of project it is seeking, went outside of the evaluation criteria, selected something else, and is now trying to move that forward as an alternative. While I don't think any of the proposers have an issue with the district deciding, hey, we want a different project, all of the bidders are simply asking, can we be provided an opportunity to bid on that project that you are now seeking? I think this is a major problem with moving forward at this point, and which is why we're simply asking that the district hold off on taking an action on X9, on awarding this bid, consider this striking evidence, and allow for this bid protest process at minimum to play out, so you can at least take an action.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Julia Consoli.
Honorable board members, I just want to start by saying thank you for your vital public service. My name is Julia Consoli Tinsvold, and I represent Hackman Capital Partners with my partner Ben Resnick and Daniel Friedman. Hackman, as you know, submitted a proposal in response to the district's RFP. As has been stated by the other commenters, the district's failure to produce any documents that would allow for the public to assess the process by which the district came to choose Hudson displays a concerning lack of transparency. Our main concern here is not to be a pest, but rather we want to ensure that the board has all of the information necessary to understand the district staff's decision. The district has failed to meet its burden of showing that the documents are protected by deliberative process, citing only one case to support their contention, a case that involved drastically different facts and circumstances. In order for the public to adequately be involved in this process, we request that the district produce additional relevant documents, including and in particular the score sheets from the evaluation committee. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Lupe, are there any more public speakers? I want to note that Nick Carroll provided a written comment, and Councilman Gidron Erickson also provided written comment. Other than those two written comments, are there any additional speakers on agenda items?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none. Are there any requests to address the board with regard to items not on the agenda?
No one is indicating that they'd like to address the board at this time. No hand raised.
I apologize, I couldn't hear.
There's no hand raised.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none. Moving forward to reports from the board. There are no reports as committee meetings were not conducted in July. The committee meetings will resume Wednesday, August 17th. May I have a motion and second on item E2?
So moved.
Trustee Vella moved.
Second.
Trustee Eno second. Any additional comment? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Point of clarification, sorry, this is unrelated to the vote. Because there were no standing committees that were conducted, in the previous month. There's no section within the agenda for the Board of Trustees to make any comments on any current matters.
Well, there's plenty of opportunity throughout and at the
But
end, but
nothing
this is
specific, nothing specific to what trustees are currently doing.
no, that's not the section for that. This is only on the reports from the board on things.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So can we continue?
President Wilna, maybe the student trustee had a student committee meeting?
Oh, was there a student committee meeting?
Oh, no, there was not a committee meeting, but I did have a report that I wanted to give, but since we're skipping the item, I didn't feel it would be appropriate.
Okay. And just when we get to item BB, there's announcements, indications on announcements, and during that time period, you can report on that. But this specific item is on actual meetings that occurred. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Or activities as well. So if we can continue roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to item F, resolutions. May I have a motion and a second on item F1?
So moved.
Trustee Eno moved.
Second.
Trustee Henderson second. Are there any comments?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So is there, Chancellor, this has to be renewed every month?
Yes, it does.
And
It allows us the flexibility while the state has the state of emergency declared. It allows us to have this flexibility that we're engaged in today, a
Okay.
hybrid meeting.
thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to next item. May I have a motion, a second on item F2?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Vella. There's a
Second.
Trustee Eno? Okay, trustee Eno second. Any comment?
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely, trustee Hoffman.
I just want to say congratulations to all of our district academic employees on their retirement. As you can see, Craig Meyer was with our district for 46 years. So round of applause. I think that's fantastic. And everybody has many years of service. So congratulations all.
Wow.
Enjoy your retirement.
Any additional comments? I do have a comment. I think as an academic institution, when you see 46 years, 24, 22, 14, 13, and you see the level of commitment that individuals have had to learning and the district, that commitment has an overall value to our entire society. And at the end of the day, it's about student achievement, learning, but that couldn't occur without these individuals who made that a commitment. So I know we're giving time to it, but I just thought it was important to verbalize that.
And I guess I'll make a comment as well. 46 years, Craig, I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but you can rest now. You did your job. You did your job.
Thank you very much. Did we do roll call? No. Okay. Roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno. Yes. Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
In the same vein, I have a motion and a second on item F3.
I
So
move to
moved.
approve. Oh, go ahead, Kelsey. Good. I'll second.
Well, hold on, I'm the judge of this one. It was trustee Hoffman. You won that one. Trustee Eno seconded. Comments?
I would just make the same comments. Congratulations on your many years of service, and we're very lucky to have all of you. Enjoy retirement.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have a chart for that one?
Yes, it's
Yes,
open.
Yeah, the other one was blown up.
19 years, 18 years. That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, senior, sorry, we have small screens here. Senior office assistant, instructional assistant, custodian, chief advancement officer. Again, essential positions within our district. And that just recognized it was an honor to have you. I don't know majority of you or actually any, but thank you for what you did for our system. Any additional comments?
No. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Seeing none, roll call, and are they getting flowers? Is there something that we're doing for all the retirees? And someone, where's Ryan Corner where I could ask him that question? Do we
Oh,
have
let me
anything?
ask him. No.
Okay, oh, yes, trustee Hoffman. Deputy Chancellor, do they get any, Deputy Chancellor Nish? Are there, I know I'm catching you off guard, but do the retirees get anything? I mean, of course they get the retirement, but are there any flowers or anything, or do we know?
Hmm.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Reports from the Chancellor.
We need to do the roll call.
Who?
Roll call.
Oh.
Yes. Student trustee
Roll
Callahan's advisory
roll
vote.
call.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno. Yes. Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Reports from the Chancellor. We'll now turn to the Chancellor Rodriguez for his report.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Boulna, members of the board, colleagues out here and throughout the districts. Good afternoon. Happy to share some ideas with you about today's report that I will share with you. Some highlights of the monthly report that we have available to our faculty and staff and our public. It is posted. Let's say a little bit more about the enrollment fair that is going on August 13th. Some comments on the fall semester, our recently authorized November 22 facilities bond, and then we'll end with some special recognitions. The monthly, Chancellor's Monthly is something that's available to all, and it normally has and routinely has updates on COVID, on our enrollment and marketing strategies for that particular month and moving forward, any news from our district foundation or college foundations, events, activities, much of which you've heard from our college presidents already, and any particular media coverage when that is indeed available. So that's our monthly report that is for you. I simply wanted to state and underscore as we begin this fall semester that the board took action, that now we do not have any mandatory indoor masking. We highly recommend it. Testing is available both at the district office as well as through all 9 colleges throughout the semester coming up. And clearly we're watching very closely what's going on with monkeypox, as the governor has recently declared a state of emergency on this, as well as the county. It has no direct impact on any of us or our colleges at the moment. And clearly we're closely monitoring this. Next slide, please. The college presidents did an excellent job in talking about the one-day 9 college enrollment fair and open house. But I wanted to underscore, as they did in their presentations, that this is one of but many push activities for enrollment that the college presidents are engaged in throughout the month of August. And clearly, because we have multiple start dates throughout the semester. It'll be something continuous throughout the academic year. But we do invite our folks to come out to enroll full-time. Our students will walk away with a sponsored laptop, a transit pass that is available at all metro lines, where students can get on any line multiple times, as well as if they enroll full-time, 2 years of tuition-free education. So there will be experts there on financial aid, folks who could talk about the multiple degrees and certificates that we have, and of course, take a campus tour. The fall semester begins on the 29th of August, and we look forward to folks being there. If we look at our fall semester, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out that I think are interesting. We're about 3.5 weeks away from the beginning of the fall semester. Our course offerings are about 50-50, meaning that 50% are in person and the other 50% are online or hybrid. And it's something that we're trying to perfect as we better understand the needs of students, how particular curriculum can be delivered and delivered well. As was pointed out, our enrollments compared to last year, the vast majority of our institutions are well over, I think 6 of the 9 are well over 100% compared to last year. The others are in the 90s, but we are trying to target fall of 2020 as our sort of landing spot throughout the semester, and we'll continue to reach efforts or engage in efforts that will allow us to reach our targets. So let me thank the college presidents for their good work, their teams on each of the campuses that are working very, very hard to capture student enrollments and indeed provide this promise called higher education to everyone concerned. I will point out a couple of things related to enrollments that you might find interesting, members of the board and colleagues. One is that I'm very pleased to report that as of yesterday, as we look at our overall district-wide enrollments, our Black student enrollment is up over 10%. I haven't said that in about 5 years, at least. And that's something that we're very proud of. We want to continue that and ensure that those students remain enrolled, and ultimately graduate. Our Latino student population is up just under 3%. And our male students, while we celebrate them being up about 3%, as you know, we had a dearth of brown and Black male students who were not participating in higher education. And I'm pleased to report that in general, male student population is up. Our female population is down by over 4%. So it's something that we have to continue to monitor. And then in terms of age group of those who are enrolling, I'm pleased to report that the under 20 group, these are the students who are benefiting from the College Promise program, full-time enrollment, is up over 20% district-wide. And that's very, very good news for the College Promise students. And I will say, hey, those who are 55 and over, and I'm part of that group, they're up over 9% in enrollment. So yes, so adult education is working. As the board knows and the district knows, we have redoubled our efforts around College Promise, dual enrollment, adult education, and online education. So it is gaining indeed some traction. So I'm happy to report that. As we move on to November 2022, last month in this very room, the board authorized us to move forward with a resolution authorizing us to put a general obligation bond to the tune of $5.3 billion on the November 2022 ballot. This would address our facilities and infrastructure needs at LACCD, and specifically to address our pre-1970s buildings, our infrastructure needs. About half of the construction and resources from this bond will be in those two particular areas, but also help us to make significant investments in sustainability, technology, to improve our athletics and our housing and real estate acquisition as well. So we're well positioned. Ultimately, should this bond pass, and it needs 55%, it will provide high quality educational experiences and opportunities for our students by creating safe, equitable, and supportive learning and teaching environments. It will clearly improve student life and student engagement. And because the buildings will be built with 21st century technologies and materials, it ultimately reduces operating costs, increases sustainability and the resiliency of our facilities. So we're very, very pleased of that. We will be engaged with an educational campaign. I'm being very careful with the words educational campaign. It's very important that our public understands what this bond will be used for. We will be open, transparent, communicative, and consistent in our message about what this bond could do to improve the learning environments for our faculty, our staff, and indeed our students. So that we will be engaged in between now and November the 8th when the ballot measure will show up. So looking forward to that. There's a town hall that at the ESC coming up next week. We'll have multiple town halls that are open through Zoom for our community, our public, our campuses to be well informed, well engaged, and inspired by what this could do. This is the 5th time that we're asking our public, once again, to trust us with their resources, the trust to educate their children, and to trust us with their confidence to build exceptional learning facilities. We went out in 2001, 2004, 2008, 2016, and we're asking the public again to assist us. They've been generous, and we have delivered on that generosity and that promise of trust by building exceptional facilities, just like the one that we are in today. So we look forward to continuing that promise moving forward. And I will conclude with a couple of special recognitions. Earlier today, Dr. McKeever aptly recognized Dr. Suhan. I'm glad you did that. But I want to recognize you as well. Not too long ago, you received the top faculty award in the state of California called the Hayward Award. So we have faculty excellence that exudes throughout LACCD. Dr. Boland, you made that point earlier about the excellence that is throughout our organization, and I could not be more proud to share that, as well as to share the wonderful accolade of one of our faculty members at LA Trade Technical College, Professor Marcela Oliva, who is an architecture professor. She's been teaching now for well over 20-something years at LA Trade Tech. I've been here in classroom before, and is a model of teaching, learning, and student engagement. This year, the American Institute of Architects, the AIALA, will recognize her as the Educator of the Year. So we recognize and congratulate Professor Marcela Oliva. And the next recognition is for one of our very own, Dr. Ruben Smith. The Asian American Architects and Engineers, AAAE, the association will be recognizing Dr. Smith for his excellence in leadership of the bond program that I've just referred to, and for his leadership over the last several years. And he will be recognized in October as well. He will be receiving AAAE's Leadership Award. So Dr. Smith, that we congratulate you and we recognize you for this wonderful achievement as well. So that is the conclusion of my report, Dr. Boland. I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have.
Board members, are there any questions for Chancellor Rodriguez?
President Buena?
Yes. Trustee.
Thank you, Chancellor, so much for that report. I do want to, just thank you so much for your comments regarding the bond measure in November. I did want us to further our outreach to our stakeholders, our students, our staff, our classified, and in particular our faculty. I know that with new leadership through the leadership of Dr. James McKeever, we are lucky that we have a veteran that, has been with us for a long time, has multiple experiences in multiple campuses. So I would appreciate the build team and the leadership to connect with our stakeholders further and, kind of iron out some of the further details of what, they would like to see on the bond. And ultimately, really the, plan of action as we move forward, where I think all of us can benefit from. So, but again, thank you, Chancellor, for your leadership, and thank you to also the leadership of Dr. Ruben Smith, and congrats to his award. It's really nice to see that we're getting recognized out there in these in the field of construction and management, and we're really happy for him as well as everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional comments? Online, from the trustees, online?
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Trustee Moreno.
Sorry. Chancellor, I noticed on the chart that you had prepared about enrollment. You mentioned that half of our sections are offered online. So what would be the number of students that we've decreased on our campus? In other words, since we had, I don't know what percentage we had of our program offered non-online, that I imagine a 50% reduction would also mean there was a 50% reduction in the number of people coming to our campus. Do you have any data as to what the numbers were prior to our major movement towards online instruction?
If I understand your question correctly, Trustee Moreno, before the pandemic occurred in the spring of 2020, we were about 19% online, and the remainder was on ground. Of course, that we radically shifted in the spring of 2020, converting just under 10,000 courses to an online format. There were some that were described as hard to convert, so under very strict guidance, county and local guidance, we were able to offer some on-ground classes in the spring of 2020, but about 98%, let's say, went indeed to an online virtual format. The 50-50 that we're planning for this fall at stake now, that does not mean that students don't have any on-campus assistance or presence. Still, many of those students who are online are taking online and on-ground classes at the same time. So they have a hybrid schedule, if you will. Also, many of those students are taking advantage of our libraries, which have very consistent and powerful internet services, have very available staff to assist them with a variety of projects. It's where some students come to study because they don't have always reliable or consistent internet at home or even a quiet place to study. We learned that from some of our surveys. So I would not simply suggest that because it's 50% online, that there's 50% less student traffic on campus. Indeed, students come to campus for a variety of other reasons, provide services, support, club activities, sporting events, and whatnot. But
the reason I raised the issue is because it appears that we have a compounding reduction. We also have one of the lowest enrollments we've had in decades, along with the movement of many of our classes to online, which would cause that, would create a situation where virtually you have very few people on our campus, comparatively speaking. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
That we have an enormous reduction. Well, we're still in a pandemic. So, and we've also found that students, some like the hybrid schedule where they don't have to come to campus every single day. So I suspect that the student of the future will be both online and on ground, having both schedules, if you will, or modalities with them. It does not negate the need for having the excellent space that we need to occupy. This bond, if you're referring to the resources expended, is going to be to replace a significant amount of square footage, make the square footage better, more adaptable, more flexible, more technologically capable. It's not necessarily adding square footage. So I wanted to make sure that's clear in this.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but ECC, one of the problems we have is a $5 million bond is that we're given the fact we've had $9 billion and now we're adding another more than half of what we've already had. There has to be more construction involved. It's just not infrastructure. It can't be possible. The other piece that I'm talking about is the fact that not only have we had a reduction in the number of students, we've compounded the problem by moving many of the classes off campus, which means that right now the space utilization ratios are so low. I bet you can walk on our campus, they almost look empty. I just want to make that observation. I know we're celebrating a variety of efforts here, but we have to make it clear to the public as to where we stand relative to our enrollment and our future development.
Yeah, what we presented to the board, Dr. Bonner? What we presented to the board last month, for our pre-1970s buildings, we have 1.375 million slated for that throughout the 9 colleges. And infrastructure alone is well over $700 million So there you have over 200, over $2 million.
But is that, is that the chart? Doesn't that,
2 billion.
excuse me for interrupting you, but I
President
believe
Bolda? I'm sorry, this is headed into a place where it could be a debate.
Yeah.
So we might want to.
No, it's not a debate. It's not a debate. I'm just going to call attention to what may be an incorrect fact here.
Okay.
And that is that there was a report made last week about pre-1970 construction. Well, we know that report was an error because one example was there are no buildings at Mission College pre-1970. And we have, I don't know how many millions of dollars we set aside for that. So there should be some correction of that analysis. So we are reporting the truth. Thank you.
Trustee Moreno, Chancellor, is there anything?
That's it. Thank you.
Trustee Vettis, did you have?
Oh, I just want to point out there's a pre-1970s buildings right across the way here from us. If Mr. Moreno doesn't think there's still pre-1970s buildings left in the district, there's plenty. It's a big auditorium that needs plenty of work. He knows it very well. He worked next to it for a dozen years. So,
all right. Thank you very much. Anything additional? Any additional comments? Seeing none. Oh, wait, trustee. Sorry.
Yeah. So, 2 questions based on the report.
Student trustee, could you a little louder? We can.
So, take it back. 2 questions based on the reports. First is based on the enrollment numbers. Is there a way, or I may have missed it in the report, but are they distinguished depending on what students are newly enrolled or which are returning students? Do we have that data? How many students are newly enrolled in the LACCD for the first time? How many students are coming back? And then the second question would be, what programs are they enrolling in? Is this for occupational ed? Is this for transfer ed? Are those detailed within the report, or is that additional information that has not been put into the report?
Student trustee Callahan, the report that I was referring to does not have that data in there, but we do have reports that disaggregate the data, as I mentioned, by gender, ethnicity, age, what courses, what type of courses. In general, about 50% of students who come in indicate that they want to transfer, over 50%. Another 25, 30% are in the vocational, technical, educational area, degrees, certificates for workforce. Then there's a whole variety of folks who come in for adult education and educational enrichment and other kinds of academic supports. So you have about 80% roughly who come in either for transfer or for technical education, roughly.
Okay, but those numbers were not highlighted within this report.
Pardon me?
Those numbers were not highlighted within this report. This is just general enrollments data and information for this current year.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Seeing no additional online trustees, it's a little difficult to see. Just I'm assuming no additional comments. None from the dais. Okay, moving on. We're moving on to item H, combined consent calendar matters requiring a majority of the board. Board members, we now have for our review the combined consent calendar for items I1 through V8. I1 through V8. These items include consent calendar for human resources, personnel commission, academic affairs, and student services, budget and finance, business and facilities. Are there any items? And I'm going to start from my right, from the board members in person, then we're going to go online just so everyone knows. Are there any items which require additional information? Please state the item number on the agenda where we may find it. If you need additional information, just state you need additional information. If you would like the item pulled for a separate vote, state that. We don't need that comment right now, but just again, we want to be efficient. Or if you would like it continued or postponed, let us know as well. And I'm using the words continued and postponed to mean the same thing, just in case there's any confusion. So I'm going to start from my right. Student trustee Callahan, is there any item in item I1 through V8 only?
So for item I1, I would like to have that. I would like to have additional information on that. For
okay.
For items 013.
I'm sorry. Can you a little louder?
Item 013. I would like to have that pulled for a second vote. Items O14 and O15, additional information.
O14, and what was the one after that?
O15.
O15, okay.
Item T6, additional information, and item T7, also additional information.
Okay, trustee Eno. Okay, trustee Vella,
Nope, I'm good.
trustee Vettis,
No, Chancellor, I'll follow up with, I have one question, but it doesn't need to come to this level right now. Okay.
thank you. Trustee Hoffman,
I have no questions. Thank you.
trustee Henderson.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Trustee Moreno,
No questions.
thank you. So Chancellor, we're gonna again, a student trustee requested O13 as a separate vote. Fine, we'll do that. He had questions on I1, 014, 015, T6, and T7. Can you see those up?
Okay, yeah, please bring those up, and we can go through them.
Okay.
Oh, in order?
Yes.
Okay, so for the personnel services, I just had some questions regarding the employment data, at least as far as like the
I'm sorry, which item? Which
this is currently we're on I1.
I1?
I1.
Okay, so we're gonna go, so the chancellor is gonna go through, I articulated the ones, and he's gonna go through them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I noted all of them correctly. So I1, you can help me with that.
I1.
This is the routine report, the employment report. I'll ask, is there a particular question or just want to understand what this is?
So this is just clear. I do have additional questions, some clarification on exactly what it is, but questions within the approval of the item.
Okay, yeah, these are the employees that come in through those particular categories for the month of or June 22nd through June 30th. So these are the number of employees by category. We report this out on a monthly basis to the board.
Okay. And then for my questions that I had within the actual employee information, I wanted to have some clarification on the additional assignments for one. What exactly does additional assignment mean for these employees?
Where do you see that? On I1?
On I1, hold on, let me see if I can pull this up again.
So the question is, what are the additional assignments for which
Yes,
category?
the action, just for any of the employment categories, what would additional assignments entail?
Chancellor, I think I can answer that.
Trustee Hoffman, just if we could let
sure
staff, because I don't want to interrupt.
And I'll ask Dr. Nish to help out here. Generally speaking, additional assignments are compensated above and beyond what they're normally compensated for a contract. That's generally speaking. So it's the compensation for something that's done above and beyond the contract. Dr. Nish, did I get that correct?
Yes, and for example, when you look into the academic attachment, you will often see that the additional assignment is for an adjunct. So that means they're getting an additional class or additional hours.
Okay, so adjunct, but this also, okay, let's see.
You'll see it will say counselor adjunct, instructor adjunct, or sometimes you'll see instructor special assignment. They might be given a special academic assignment through their department.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And then
these are the hourly rates by which our adjunct faculty are paid.
Yeah, but it also it spills into the classified and unclassified employees. And I was just wondering, because it's for all employee types and classifications, I wanted to know what it meant depending on the context. So like in the case of adjunct faculty, it's additional teaching assignments, but also in the case of a student worker, let's say, like you said, it's additional compensated work, but the additional assignment given to the student worker in this case would be Jacqueline over here. They're still making the California minimum wage, which is a requirement by the state for us to provide to student workers. So it looks like there's no additional compensation, but they are given an additional assignment. So isn't an extension on what they're actually being asked for as a worker, or is there additional compensation that that's not gone into detail within the document?
Is there a question or?
That was a question, because in this case, it does not look like there's.
Is there a particular line that you're looking at? I want to make sure I'm following.
So I am currently on page 6.
Okay.
I am looking at the student worker, Jacqueline Balista. And this is the case with some other student workers. And in this case,
So student trustee, and I apologize, we just can't, we're having a little difficulty understanding.
I'd be happy to work with the student trustee offline to explain these reports. The student workers work hourly. They're assigned hours. It doesn't mean that their hourly rate goes up, but of course, if they work more hours, we pay them for those hours. So this is probably a change in their hourly assignment, but I'm happy to work with you offline to look through these, because these are regular and customary reports. So we'd be happy to sit down and walk through these with you.
Yeah, I was just confused because, again, it's confusing looking at this. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, so and I guess the other questions that I did have about this document would be a little too.
So just 1 second. So does that answer your question with regard to the I-1 matter?
I guess so.
Okay.
So
now we're on to 014.
013.
014.
014.
But wasn't it 13 first?
Yes.
He wanted to pull that 013 for additional vote. So 014, 015, T6 and T7, he had additional questions.
Very good. For the 014 through 16, Ms. Litz will respond.
So item 14 and 15 are for TouchNet. TouchNet is the technology solution that the district uses for credit card processing for the district. So all of the payments that the district receives and our chief financial officer processes go through this technology solution. The second item covers the hosting for this solution. So one is for the licenses, the other one is for the hosting for the solution. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay.
Actually, no, never mind. That answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
And this is used district-wide. It's not just one office. Yes, that's why it's processed through the district education service center.
Did you have T6 and T7, Chancellor?
Let's go to it. Okay, what was the question? This is our funds received from the California Community College Chancellor's Office for Perkins, which is technically a workforce, career, and technical education. Was there a question, sir?
Yeah, so my question is, I'm looking at some of the numbers that are disaggregated across the colleges, including the district. Some are receiving close to $1 million, and others are receiving close to about half or $250,000, which in the case of Harbor and Southwest, it's similar to the amount, the budget distribution that the district administration is getting. And I wanted to know why are the numbers distributed in the way they are?
Yeah,
they're not equally.
Yes, these dollars are provided to the colleges based on a particular formula. If there are more students who are enrolled in particular types of programs that Perkins funds, and the college will receive more funds for that. And then there are categories of underserved, et cetera. So there are criteria by which students are and colleges are eligible for to receive these funds. And through that formula, the distribution is made in this particular way. So the state provides us let's call it $4.4 million for these types of programs. And based on criteria and eligibility criteria, that distribution is made to the colleges. It's not done simply by head count. It's done by criteria, type of major, and the type of student that we're serving.
Okay, so because some of and this is specifically for additional support programs for students?
Yeah, these are to provide support. These are career tech, career and technical education programs, workforce programs, degrees, certificates.
Okay.
So that's how we categorize the programs that are not necessarily under transfer.
So then I guess an extension of that question, or two separate questions, but an extension. How is that being used within the district administration? Because I'm not sure if the district office itself is educational institution. So how is it?
Yeah, the district is responsible for reporting data, outcomes data, collecting the information, distributing the resources, processing all the the work that's involved with getting these programs off the ground. So it's district administration. That's not unusual. And we do all the reporting as well, and collect and forward it, because both the state as well as the federal government ask for some very clear outcomes data, ensuring that students are getting wages that are consistent with the kind of training that they're getting. They call it gainful employment, for example. So there's quite a bit of reporting involved when you receive federal dollars, and the district is responsible for that.
Okay. And then I guess the last question would be that based on the other point you made about the eligibility requirements for student services, would that mean that based on these numbers, Southwest and Harbor generally meet less of the eligibility requirements for students to get the additional funding?
That's what it would imply.
Okay. Okay. That's it for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I believe Southwest and Harbor have, as a percentage, fewer CTE programs than the other proportionality of those programs at the other colleges. And they're smaller colleges as well.
Student trustee, did you still want to pull item 013, or did you need more information on that?
013, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm still pulling.
Excuse me?
I'm still pulling 013.
Okay, no problem. Any additional items on I1 through V8?
Well, I guess. We didn't go over T7. Yeah.
Oh, I thought we just did that.
No, that was T6.
Okay,
T7.
T7.
T7, yeah. Well, these are dollars that we also receive from the state of California. And this is used to subsidize our child development centers. You can see the allocation, if I understand it. These are grants for our child development centers.
Okay.
And again, based on criteria, based on the number of children that are served, types of children that are served, ages of children that are served, types of program at the colleges, because they all don't have the same programs, that these are the resources that are received. Again, it goes through a formulaic process and it's redistributed. It's $4.3 million is redistributed.
Okay, so again, the case with Mission College having over $1 million for these child development programs, that's strictly because of the formula that they use and the eligibility requirements that they meet.
Well, yeah, it suggests to me that it's a large program and it's got a lot of elements within that program. It serves a large children's population. That's what it implies to me, and high need.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer your question, student trustee?
But these are monies coming into the district and then are redistributed to the colleges. So when the state of California, passes its budget, there are categorical dollars. Categorical dollars means that these resources can only be used for these particular purposes. So when you see and you extract and disaggregate the state budget, there are very specific line items for California community colleges and child development. Underneath that, it's probably called something different. And then each college gets its respective allocation. So this is beginning of the school year. So it's important that children, families, and staff who work in our CDCs understand that there are some additional resources coming in.
General Counsel, just for clarification, and if it is, I just wanted to make sure for procedure, can the student trustee pull an item? Okay.
I just don't want to.
President Buelna,
Yes.
I know you asked the question, but I don't think those of us on Zoom or the public heard the answer.
No, is the general counsel is reviewing.
Oh, thank you. We just can't hear when you ask somebody a question and they don't come to the podium, I guess. But thank you.
Okay. We'll take 1 second. For the sake of efficiency, would another, just in case not, would another trustee like to pull item 013 in order so we can go ahead and move forward?
I would endorse that and pull that.
So just in the abundance of caution, Trustee Vela is going to pull it and pull that item. Are there any additional information items? Okay, seeing none, roll call on item I1 through V8, excluding 013. Lupe?
Yes.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Buelna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
So
and, I need a
item,
motion and a second, pardon me, for that item, for the consent calendar.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
yeah, sorry, move to, we're gonna have to do that over again.
We did it in backwards order.
I'll do it over again, trustee Hoffman. Move to approve.
Move to approve.
Okay, trustee Hoffman, second.
Second.
Okay, and again, I'm gonna clarify it. I1 through V8, we went through all the information items. Item 013 is being pulled. Seeing no other comment, is there, can we do roll call?
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Buelna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Sorry, yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Item-
President Buena,
Yes,
the education code does provide that the student trustee shall be recognized as a full member in terms of pooling an item. So he is allowed to participate in terms of pooling an item.
okay. You know what? That is good to know for the history of that we are trustees. Thank you. And I'm not being facetious. That's important information to know. So item 013, may I have a motion and a second on item 013? So moved by trustee Vela,
Second.
trustee Eno, second. Comments? So trustee, student trustee Callahan, you had a question?
So this appears to be the cleared for application that we have been using for the past 1.5, 2 years. And based on my experience and the experience of many other students within the LACCD, the cleared for application, though it is useful for at least getting clearance as far as filling out the questionnaire and such, and in some cases it is useful with booking appointments for COVID tests and such. There seems to be a divide between how students actually see how useful it is, because in many cases it does not clearly state or clearly show when a student or any individual has or has not shown COVID symptoms. And the fact that this is one of the highest costing renewals or extensions within this section of the license agreements, it just seems a little concerning to me. So first, a question on why exactly the item is $90,000, And then second is why cleared for and why not another program that could potentially better check the status or manage the status of COVID compliance within the district.
Yeah, I think Dr. Nish is best positioned to answer that. Thank you, Dr. Nish.
Thank you. We have almost 4 years been working with Cleared for. This was a direct outcome from the board's action to require vaccinations as a condition of employment and as a condition for students to be attending on-site courses. We maintained the contract through June 30th, at which time we have now asked you to extend a new contract from July 1 through December 31st with certain distinctions as compared to the prior contracts. Given the board's action that students are no longer required to be vaccinated, we are no longer using Cleared for any students effective July 1. All of those accounts were suspended due to the board action to facilitate students and not require vaccinations or require testing. Students, of course, are encouraged to wear masks in indoor places, and all of our student health centers are now responsible for providing testing services for students. As of July 1, Biocept, our testing partner, is only providing testing to employees, and that information is stored in Cleared for. Cleared for is the platform that contains all employee vaccination information. That is our secure platform where we can verify that employees have been fully vaccinated. We are also able to conduct routine reports that will show us all employees who have done their daily check-in. Effective this month, the campuses no longer scan, but employees are required to perform the daily check-in. Anytime a new employee is hired, we create a Cleared for account, and then they have a period of time to get their vaccination information in, as it is a condition of employment. The estimate is based on the number of employees that we have now and we anticipate to hire over the next 6 months. Each new employee will have to have their information verified. That is also an additional cost. So there is a base cost, there is a cost based on the number of users, and then there are costs associated with anticipated verifications and messaging. All employees that sign up for text messaging, we have to pay for that. That's not free. So that's how that cost is estimated. This is not an increase in those costs compared to the previous contracts. So this is less than we have paid before because we now have less users in the account, just the employees. We are hoping that this will be probably the last extension of the contract, but we are required to be providing information and we are required by our own board policy to assure that our employees are fully vaccinated. So we, rather than try to switch, given that we have all these records in this system, and given that we've been able to easily maintain this system for our employees, it's the staff recommendation that we would renew this contract for the next 6 months.
Thank you very much. Still interesting?
So, and again, if this item was not approved today, then we would effectively lose access to all the COVID information starting this month or next month.
We would not have a secure platform in order to maintain these records immediately. We would have to have a transition period. We would have to remove that information and we would have to develop some homegrown strategy just for the board's information. We did consider that last year and we determined that this solution was more cost effective than a homegrown strategy. We would still nonetheless have to pay for the months of July and August and September, whatever time it would take us to figure out a transition.
Okay, so this budget that's being approved, it is also accounting for those extra 3 months?
This is the budget that we've estimated for July 1 through December 31st, and this is paid through HERF dollars that are specifically for COVID-related expenses.
I'll just say that I understand the convenience aspect, and even you said yourself, we're probably not going to be going forward with it after this because it's you know, we just kind of need it there because nobody wants to bother building a whole new homegrown system and all that. But just the price tag itself just seems kind of high, even though we're paying less overall because we're disincluding the students from what's actually required. It's actually, we're somewhat benefiting from this, but still the cost of simply just having a device or platform to just keep employing information in it seems expensive, especially in comparison to the rest of the items on this section of the agenda. If it is by your recommendation that we keep it, then fine, but I'd say it just seems like if there's no option to potentially lower the cost or potentially strike a new deal with Biosep and maybe lower the price by 10,000 such, if there's no possibility of doing that, could we even make that be an action item?
Excuse me?
Could we even lower the cost of the actual?
No,
item?
that's the full price.
This, by the way, is a not to exceed amount. Clearly, this is an estimate. We made a conservative estimate in the hope that we would not have to come back and request further funds. This is a not to exceed amount. This is not a fixed amount. So if there are less text messaging or less anticipated new employees that are hired, then this would be less. But again, this is an estimate based on our current number of employees, anticipated new employees, and anticipated numbers of messaging. Because remember, it doesn't just store information. It sends reminders to every employee on a daily basis to do their daily health check. And then it reports that information of their health check. And it records all of the testing that they do through Biocept. So it's more than just an information storage. It's an interactive system as well.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if this is an estimate and it's not a flat rate, my point still stands. Could we potentially, I don't know how you would phrase that. We vote on pushing the price down maybe by 10,000, 5,000. We vote on that and for like potential negotiation with Biocept.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President and Honorable Board, the student trustee does not have the right to make any motions. He only has the right to second a motion.
Okay, well, it would, and thank you very much. Is there anything else on this matter?
No, just the standing or the motion that I cannot move forward.
Okay, we're gonna then move on to roll call. There's nothing additional? Okay.
Nothing additional.
All right, any other comments? Roll call on this item?
Student trustee advisory vote,
No.
trustee Buona,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
I want to say yes, but I do echo the student trustees' concerns.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno. Absent, trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Motion passes. Next item. We're moving on to business items. Board members, we will now review the business items W1 through W9. Are there any items which require additional information? Please state the number on the item agenda where we may find it. I'm going to start off with the online board. Is there any additional items that you need either additional information or you would like to have a separate vote? Trustee Hoffman,
None, thank you.
trustee Moreno,
None.
Henderson.
None, thank you.
Trustee Vettis is not here. Trustee Vela.
No.
Trustee Eno, are there any items in W1, W9 that you would like pulled? I'll go to student trustees. Student trustee, any item that you would like to pull the more information?
No.
You're good? Okay. Trustee on W1 through W9, any additional information items or anything to be pulled? W1 through W9.
No, not on the business items.
Got it. Okay, so we will go ahead and can I get a motion to approve items W1 through W9?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Eno.
Second.
Second trustee Henderson. Any additional comments? None seen. Roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Buona,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yeah.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Perez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Trustees, board members, we will now review items X1 through X9. Are there any items which require additional information? Please state the item number agenda where we may find it X1 through X9. We last time started online. I'll start off with trustee Vettis. Is there anything that you would like either additional information or pull for a separate vote?
Trustee, I would just ask that X6 and X9 have a staff presentation to go with that before the vote.
Oh, yes, yes, okay. Trustee Vella,
Nope.
trustee Eno,
I'm good.
trustee Callahan,
No.
trustee Hoffman,
No, but I do look forward to staff presentations.
trustee Moreno,
No.
trustee Henderson.
No, thank you.
Okay, may I have a first and a motion and a second on items X1 through X9, excluding X6 and X9.
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Vella,
Callahan.
excuse me?
Second.
Oh, second
Callahan.
by trustee Callahan. Any additional comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Buona,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Perez.
Yes.
Okay, seeing none, we have two presentations, X6 and X9. Chancellor?
Yes, can we have Dr. Smith in the room, please? Just allow Dr. Smith in the room, give him a chance to walk us through this college project leadership team services district-wide for a 3-year period. Thank you, Dr. Smith. And we're asking the board to authorize agreements with the firms noted there in the background. Dr. Smith, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chancellor Rodriguez, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share these two items. So item X6 is a professional service agreement for college project leadership teams. Over the last 2 years, we've talked about transitioning either front to agency CM or keeping MATOC, and we've extended the MATOC contracts multiple times over the last 2 years, and I appreciate the board's indulgence to do that while we were further assessing. Last April, we actually in 2021, we presented a hybrid solution that actually took the best of both worlds. When we assessed, which was better for us as a district, MATOC does have its benefits as well as agency CM, and ultimately we proposed a hybrid model. Well, since then, that hybrid model, we've solicited opportunities for statement of qualifications as well as an RFP. We had 37 participants on the solicitation for qualifications, and 36 were deemed responsive. Since then, we've had 28 proposals received and 25 deemed responsive. And ultimately, we've come to this point where we're making a recommendation on the 9 firms before you for college assignments to carry on the oversight and construction management of our college project work at each of the 9 campuses, as well as district identified projects. With that, I'll take any questions or comments that you may have with regard to this item.
President Buona?
Yes.
So I just really want to, first of all, applaud our, Dr. Smith and the BUILD program, the team, both at the district and over in Monterey Park, for putting this together. I know it wasn't easy. Definitely want to thank all of the firms that applied. I think this year we had the most diverse set of folks that applied, which is just, very indicative of how the program is going, revamping the program. Many of you attended the Meet the Primes last week at LA Trade Tech, which was just an excellent opportunity for some of our sub-consultants to meet some of these folks. And so, I really, again, want to reiterate that, the BUILD program is going strong. This is just another piece of, what I'd like to call the full force of, ensuring that our colleges are up to date, that our students walk into state-of-the-art facilities, that they're not shortchanged. And so what we're looking at here is definitely a set of firms that not only qualified, but showed that they will be able to meet the challenges of modernization, of ensuring that we keep up with technology, that we equip our buildings to be able to take on the 21st century learning that we currently in, and 22nd. So again, I just wanted to thank staff, President Buona. I wanted to thank you, Chancellor, as well, Dr. Smith, his team, as well as the trustees, because you were all there ensuring that, we continue to support the reauthorization and procurement activities of this really monumental procurement that we did. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Eno, any question?
No, thank you.
Okay, Student Trustee Callahan?
And this is on item X6, correct?
X6, yeah.
X6. No comments.
Okay. Trustee Vettis?
Yes, a couple comments and a couple questions. So first of all, thank you for the presentation, Dr. Smith. I guess I got to look at you on my computer screen here. And thank you to, I know there's a number of the firms represented in the audience. So it was appreciated when people take the time and effort to come join us at these kinds of meetings, because you get a chance to see the rest of what we do, not just the sort of singular part of what happens in the construction component. So I wanted to sort of comment that in front of us is a blend of firms that have been with us for a while, some new firms. I think we have a mix of large and small in this, which I think is positive. But Dr. Smith, I wanted to see if you can go through and sort of highlight some of the safeguarding in the process to ensure that it was as fair and as transparent as possible. I know we have no bids on this particular item, unlike I think the next one we'll cover, but I want to get a sense as to, and if you can share with us the kind of diligence the staff went through in the selection process.
Yeah, I appreciate that question and opportunity to share that. We actually took a really hard look at the contract, and as well as developing the RFP with our Office of General Counsel as well as outside counsel to ensure that the safeguards there were there, that it was fair and impartial, and not only fair and impartial, but giving opportunities to local, small, emerging, and disabled veterans, as well as an opportunity for disadvantaged businesses to be considered. Although we can't score that, what's that consideration? Is their participation? And so we looked at that, and we developed not only a statement of qualifications as well as RFQ as well as an RFP that made certain requests and responsiveness requiring that. We also looked really hard at the process at which who's participating in the selection panels, because there's so many other college districts out there using augmented staff services. We didn't want to have any indirect favoritism just because someone's accustomed to working with someone. So we went a little bit outside of that. So what we did was we put together a panel that included 2 college presidents, also included, someone from the CSU, the Chief Facilities Planning Design, as well as someone from the UC Regency system as well, who is very familiar with construction management and oversight. So we did have the element there necessary to gauge and review not only the proposal packages, but through the interview process. And so the results showing three firms that are getting new prime contracts that never had prime contracts before shows that to me how well the process worked, as well as some of the firms that have done work with us and will continue to do work with us. And so I actually am proud of the process. I don't think that we have failed in any way, and we still have an opportunity here as we move forward in this transition period. Once we bring these new firms on, we do have a transition plan that we work directly with our Jacobs team on to ensure that we don't lose any steam on projects currently in construction or design or in programming. We actually have a transition plan with Tiger teams to do that over a 3-month process.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. And you actually touched on the second question I was going to ask, which is the transition plan. But the one additional question there is there, obviously we want to ensure in transition that there's as seamless as possible.
Yes.
So we can have that continuity and consistency in as many ways as we can. And that was a big part of our conversation about doing this hybrid process. Yes. To ensure that we transition smoothly. Just wanted to ask about, do you foresee a need to manage and redirect potential conflicts now?
That's a great question. I'll say this: we're prepared for that, and what I mean by that is with this hybrid and having both an AGCM in place at each college, we still have MATOC. So you will have a number of positions that are going to be in the field as MATOC positions. Some of those individuals will remain in those positions that they're in now, as well as that MATOC support at the PMO level. So we looked at mission critical projects. We looked at risk, and we've gauged what those risks are based on that risk register, and we know where to go based on periodic meetings that when we discuss weekly. And we also address those challenges with our outside counsel to ensure that we're getting the right guidance and we're monitoring those items where we think that things can go south to cause an issue. So I think that the best answer is to say we're prepared.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate that. In the hybrid approach, I think that's the one thing that we've got to be cognizant, because there may be based on resumes, based on where people end up lining up, want to make sure that people are overseeing, especially financials, one over the other is following a clear pathway, and then we can ensure that the utmost integrity is held in the process. So I appreciate that feedback, and I'm glad it's gone through through our attorneys in terms of the process, and look forward to seeing how this works out when approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Henderson?
No questions, no comments. Thank you for the presentation, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Trustee Henderson.
Trustee Moreno?
No, I have no further questions.
Trustee Hoffman?
Thank you, Chair Buelna, and thank you, Dr. Smith. I appreciate the presentation and the thoughtfulness that went into this process, because I know it's not an easy process. And I'm excited to see the firms that are here. And I think I recognize at least 3 of them as woman-owned, or at least women-driven, and that makes me happy. The other thing is, on the human side, these folks are on our campuses for a long time when they're working on projects, and I know there is a transition period, but they immerse themselves in our campus cultures. And let's remember that, separation and change is not always easy, either for the person that's being transitioned out or for the staff on our campuses that have been working with those people. And then on the flip side, because I am on a campus in another district where I work with a lot of construction going on, it's really great when the construction folks blend in and participate in campus activities. And I think that was part of, your interview process, I think, in terms of making sure that they will participate in campus activities and in a sense, become part of that campus. So I just wanted to make those two comments, and I can't see any of you who are here today if you're here, but thank you for coming out to our board meeting, and we're excited. So thank you for your good work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Hoffman. So I'd like to have that's the staff presentations. See no additional comments. I need a motion on item X6.
I'll move the item.
Trustee Vettis moved.
Second.
Trustee Eno second. Any additional comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote,
Abstain.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item passes. We're going to move on to a presentation on item X9.
Dr. Smith, the floor is yours to prepare this item, please.
Thank you, Chancellor. So I'm pleased to introduce this item. Under the board's direction, the district has issued a request for proposals for a joint occupancy lease, providing for the mixed-use development of the 10100 of mixed-use development of the 10100 Jefferson Boulevard site in Culver City. The development is approximately 13.6 acres of district owned property. At the May 18th Committee of the Whole meeting, the board received the information for information purposes, a presentation of 4 presentations that describe their development proposal for physical improvements, which included buildings and other site improvements, and the strategies for collaboration with the district to enhance student success as outlined in their proposals. The item brought forward to the board today for consideration is the staff's recommendation to authorize entering into an exclusive negotiation agreement for joint occupancy lease with Hudson Pacific Properties. Staff recommendation is the result of the work of a 7-person evaluation panel consisting of the district staff, outside experts that performed a thorough review for each proposer, financial offers and terms, project vision and development program, the team's qualifications, overall proposal organization, and evaluation panel interviews. If the item before the board today is adopted, the district will enter into a 120-day exclusive negotiation agreement, where the district will attempt in good faith to negotiate the terms of the joint occupancy lease. Upon successful negotiation of the joint occupancy lease, it will be brought back to the Board of Trustees for a future meeting to receive and consider. If the terms of the joint occupancy lease are not agreed to within the E&A terms, the district may elect to extend the E&A term, enter negotiation with another proposal, or solicit new development teams. By entering into the E&A, the district will not be committing to approve the joint occupancy lease or any other transaction with the selected proposer. The district will not be bound to any draft joint occupancy lease that may be negotiated between the district staff and the selected proposal, and the district will only be bound following the joint occupancy lease approval and execution by the designated officials following all legally required processes. With us today, if there are any questions, we have HRNA, who is our consultant who helped develop the RFP. We also have our Office of General Counsel, as well as outside counsel who worked with us throughout this procurement process. At the June 17th board meeting, this item was Y11 for action authorized by the staff to enter into an exclusive negotiation and was withdrawn. and then continue to July 6th meeting, and again withdrawn. And today before you, we have this item as item X9. And with that, I'll open it up for any comments or questions and allow the board to discuss the item as you have reviewed the proposals in depth.
Understood. Dr. Smith, just to be clear, there is no other presentation at this point. You're only entertaining comments and questions from the board, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and start off with the online trustees. Student trustee Hoffman.
Student trustee.
No, I didn't. I would do that. Trustee Hoffman.
I don't have any questions right now. I may after other trustees ask. So if you can come back to me, that'd be great.
Okay. Trustee Moreno.
Well, we've heard quite a bit about this. I'm wondering what our response is to concerns that have been expressed by the other bidders. I have a concern is if they've outlined, as they have outlined the requirements, is there any validity to their claim that we had set in motion a fixed criteria that we somehow now violated by hiring another firm?
Dr. Smith or Johnson?
Yes, as it relates to bid protest procedural matters, if that's the question that Trustee Moreno has, we do have Mr. Holloway who is here, who could discuss that as a matter of procedure. Mr. Moreno, for Mr. Holloway's sake, can you repeat the question?
Well, it's abundantly clear that the consistent claim is that we've somehow violated our.
Okay, thank you. And as it relates to the RFP process, we do have Kevin Randolph here, who represents our district, who oversaw the RFP process. So Mr. Randolph, are you best positioned to answer Mr. Moreno's question?
Yes, Chancellor, and good afternoon, everyone. Trustees, President, Chancellor. I'm Kevin Randolph, and I represented the district during.
Mr. Randolph, just 1 second. Trustees online, I want to make sure you can fully hear Mr. Randolph.
He needs to speak a little louder, that's all.
A little louder, sir.
I will speak louder and probably better if I speak into the mic a little more directly.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno, would you please repeat your question? I had difficulty hearing it in the back.
Well, it was just simply reiterating what had been presented to us earlier, is that somehow we've gone beyond the limits we established in our requirements for this property, that we've in fact assigned this property to an individual based upon criteria that are not found within the immediately requested.
No, I think I understand your question, and I believe it's referring to the issue of whether or not the projects that the Hudson Pacific project was primarily an office project. I understood Mr. Resnick and his colleagues to raise a concern that the district moved the goalpost in a manner of speaking. I don't believe that's true, however. The RFP did say that it was to be primarily an office project, but in the information contained in the board memorandum set forth some of the data for each of the projects. With respect to Hudson Pacific, you'll notice that the total project size is about 555,000 square feet. Of that amount, 373,000 plus is office space. So this is in fact primarily an office project.
Okay, did that answer your question, Trustee Moreno?
Well,
not really.
I'm not sure it has, but I'm willing to listen to some more.
Okay. Trustee Bettis?
Yes, thank you, Trustee. I have a few questions. So if you want to take a few and then take a pause and rotate around, happy to sort of do that. But
why don't you do one question first?
Okay. Well, actually, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go back because I know there's been a lot of correspondence over the past few weeks that deals with process. And so I actually want to start with the sort of original process, which is our joint occupancy code, the responsibility of the board. So I think I'd like to say is that all this that occurred and all the staff deliberation or a staff sort of assessment and all the materials provided for us. And I know we've received all the proposals in their entirety, leads us to sort of this, section 81-400 of the Ed Code here. And I just want to read it to be very clear. And I'll read just one section: that after considering all proposals submitted, the governing board of the community college district shall have the authority, subject to the provisions of section 81-401, to select the plan or proposal which best meets the needs of the district and to enter into a contract incorporating that plan or proposal either as submitted or as revised by the district's governing board. So I think in my mind, and of course the rest of it is set in the code, is all of that work comes to us today for our deliberation and our consideration. This is the decision. Now, I do want to say that this is for an exclusive negotiating agreement. So an exclusive negotiating isn't necessarily the final call here. It will come back to us in terms of a conversation. I want to be very sensitive to our neighbors over in Culver City. And I know there's a former councilman, be that as may, he's not a current councilman, but the city in itself will have an entire process, and the community. And I know Raintree is our next door neighbor. We've had lots of deliberations with Raintree on a number of projects at West LA for many, many, many years. But the process that includes, they have a set component of the process as well. This is for the ENA, and ultimately, when whatever the fine-tuned final details of a proposal comes back, this board will again have the final determination, final say on that. So, am I reading that correctly?
You are correct.
Okay. Has all the materials associated with each one of these projects been delivered to the Board of Trustees?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Was there any other materials considered by the staff that we didn't have? And it's the same question, but in a different way. Was there anything in the interview process that was not forwarded to us?
Trustee Barrett, to my knowledge, there was not. The board has received the same information that was made available to the evaluation panel.
Okay. This is a long, sort of tenuous process. I think I was here in 2013 or 14 when this, discussions. I think there was a gentleman who mentioned this began in maybe 07. Like I remember this as in its current rendition as a joint occupancy conversation in 2013-14, maybe before your time, Chancellor. But I also do recognize that we took some actions as a board in a resolution. And, I just want to be sure that the board resolution that essentially calls for the project to include mixed-use development that may include professional offices, creative office, biotech, emerging technologies, media, entertainment studios, restaurant, retails, et cetera. All those elements are clearly indicated in the RFP, desire of the Board of Trustees. So before the RFP process, this is what we lay on the table as what is important, what is the sort of resolute standard that the board sets. Is there any piece or gap or any of that any of the proposals in front of us do not meet?
No, some of the proposals included certain elements that others did not. Some of the proposals emphasized particular elements more so than other elements, but they were all consistent with the proposal.
Okay. And now I've made this comment when we had the general committee of the whole and the proposals in front of us. I thought we had 4 very good development teams proposed to us. And it's a position that I appreciate being in as a district to see, strong proposers that meet the context and criteria that we've laid out in the resolution. And I'm listening to essentially all the pieces and I'm reading all the materials that have come to us. And I understand that it's my responsibility to deliberate now, to discuss this with the colleagues, to sort of put out my perspective. And that's my due diligence as a board member, correct?
That is correct. The education code requires that before you make any selection, including this one, that you consider all proposals. And obviously you have staff's recommendation. You are free to disregard that. You are free to come to a different conclusion.
Okay. And I'll ask this last question and we can jump it around some more. I know there was a number of conversation points about whether there were mentoring programs, internship programs, any of those kinds of things that were listed. A few of the proposals mentioned them, a few of them did not. To ask, and perhaps this is more of a West LA, programmatically, is there any potential conflict with what we do at the colleges with any of the programs, proposals, presentations before us? Meaning, and to be clear, is there any kind of programming out there that would be quote unquote in competition with West LA as opposed to in collaboration with West LA?
Well, I would agree with you. That's probably a question best put to the college president. I'm probably not the correct person to address that for you. I'm sorry.
Is there maybe Dr. Smith, is that something that you can speak to? Because I know there's a few, and I only raised the question because a few of the things sound a little bit like what we already do. And I just want to be clear with that piece.
Yeah, yes, Trustee Veras, there was one of the proposals that looked like it was competing with our programs at West LA College.
And I say that because we just finished up a building there that we invested quite a bit of money. And I know we were trying to find, at least in terms of the joint occupancy, that dealt with our prop house, but there's also interning programs. We have a Hollywood CPR piece. We have a few elements of what we try to do. And I just want to be sure. Now, in the evaluation process, how was that considered, dealt with, managed? Dr.
Well,
Smith?
Based on each one of the reviewers, they scored it accordingly. So it wasn't a huge negative impact, but it was a discussion item, as well as for those, each one who felt like it was going to be an issue, then that's something that was actually scored. But however, each individual evaluator scored based on the criteria that they found best to fit the college needs.
Okay. So before us is a score that reflects what would be the best collaboration with the district?
Well, ultimately, each score was broken down by the evaluators, and then those numbers fell where they fell. But when you cumulatively score all of them, you have some that may have weighed higher than others. You may have, someone's number one may have been, ultimately the number two. You know how it goes in these scoring processes as you score all of them. Not everyone is it's not a unanimous. Everyone picked the same team as number one. You just go through and you look at the scores and the breakdowns. And then you evaluate and you say, does anyone disagree? There was an opportunity for that as well.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll leave it to you, Trustee, and then I may have a couple questions after.
Thank you. Trustee Vela?
Nothing.
Trustee Eno?
I'm good. Thank you.
Student Trustee Callahan? Okay. Trustee Henderson?
I think my question was answered. I had a similar question to the one that Trustee Moreno posed, but I'll ask it later. Thank you.
Chair Buelna, can I ask a follow-up question?
You were going to be next, Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you. Dr. Smith, were there sufficient college representatives on the scoring panels, or how is the team put together?
Yes, I believe that they were sufficient. You did have the college president and another individual from the college that was on that 7-member evaluation team.
Okay, and then are we provided, I don't know if this comes after, like, do we get to see individual scores at some point, or is that part of the protest process? I'm just curious.
Well, traditionally, we don't share those scores. This is one of the things that I do want to point to, though, is although the staff has made a recommendation, EDCO does call for the board to have the opportunity to either accept and adopt the recommendation or go in a different direction if the board so chooses by reviewing the proposals independently and having that debate, discussion, and opportunity today to ultimately make a decision. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but it does give you more leeway which is somewhat of a departure than typical recommendations that we bring to the board.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question, just to be clear to the council in front of me. According to the statute, we have received all the information that we're required to receive, correct?
You have received all the information you are required to receive.
Okay.
You have received the same information that was made available to the public, but in addition to that, you also received confidential financial information, which is not publicly disclosable at this time.
Okay, correct. Trustee Moreno?
What was the key word? I think the key word was primary, I believe, wasn't it? Within the specification issue. I mean, that's an issue that comes to me over and over again relative to all the comments made earlier, that we have defined, can you define the word primary as it relates to the project itself? I believe there was a provision set forth in the original specs that required the word primary office. How is primary interpreted?
Very subjectively, and I don't mean that sarcastically. There was no objective standard for primary. I mean, I think for most folks, most evaluators, they would look at it to see whether the main focus, a majority of the square footage in the project was dedicated to office uses. But in terms of an objective definition within the RFP, there was not one.
Well, the reason I ask is that, primary to me would mean more than just 50% of the square footage allocated for a particular purpose. I would assume that if I saw the word primary, that we wouldn't want to see much else than what is defined as office space. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't help but feel that there may be some further evaluation in this particular area is reflected or has commented by other appeals.
Trustee Moreno, you're not wrong. It is a very subjective, well, in this case, subjective, and you are welcome to come to a different conclusion than the evaluation panel did. That's part of what we're here to do today, is to have the board exercise its independent judgment with respect to what was recommended to it. And I certainly understand your point, and it is obviously something that the board can consider, whether this was or was not a primarily office project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go back to Trustee Vettis. Additional question?
Yeah. I gotta, as I keep going back over the proposals, certainly these are really fantastic teams, lots of experience, lots of sort of demonstrated ability to do work here. So I think in some senses, they all meet certain significant standards that we've set for ourselves. So that's a positive thing. Dr. Smith, I just, in two things, because this is a project as we enter into the ENA, and maybe this is actually an attorney question. When it begins the sort of evaluation process in Culver City, how much potentially can a project change as presented here as it goes through the Culver City approval process? Because I think I want to speak to the community concerns of like, it's already set and there isn't sort of space, but I do believe that the city obviously, and there should have been some consideration for what this area is zoned in the city and the kind of rules and regulations. I'm assuming that nobody would have proposed something that wouldn't necessarily be within the range of what the city of Culver City expects in that corridor there. But just wanted to understand that from this point, if one is picked, how much consideration of potential change could happen in the ENA process.
Is that for me or is that for Councilor Randolph?
I think it seems like council's ready to answer that one.
Council will step back if needed. No.
I'll save one for you for Dr. Smith next.
Okay.
The city of Culver City is going to be the lead agency for purposes of the entitlements and for CEQA analysis on this project. That, as you all know very well, involves a great deal of public participation, a great deal of public notice, not only to the adjoining HOA, but to the city in general. Although we provided notice to Culver City of the fact that we were going through this process, we did not, and we should not have had them engage with us in the selection process. That is something that is within your jurisdiction. Now, when it comes to entitlements and whether the project could change from what was presented in the proposal, that is something that could happen as part of the public communication, the public engagement process, which, by the way, the RFP requires all the proposers to strongly engage with the community during the planning and permitting process.
Okay. From going through the Culver City process, at that point, when the city approves whatever the ultimate development is, this board will either have a vote up or vote down, because we can't change it from there after going through the city process, correct?
No, once the project's entitled, it will be entitled the way the city approves it, correct?
Okay. That's for my old city hats. That's the way I would have expected it.
I would make one exception to that 25,000 square foot space that is just district owned and district use only, that you can perhaps exempt yourself from the city's control. The majority of the project cannot.
See, I was going to ask that as the next question, because typically whenever we approve anything, our buildings, we go to the Department of State Architects.
Yes.
That particular piece is one, if we decide in the future that that's going to be modified or changed, or let's say we want to move from motion picture to some other program that the campus desires to operate, how are we, is it most appropriate that we do our Department of State Architects process with that? And how would that work? I guess I'm trying to say is that sometimes we do change programs, you know, especially, and it's a 66-year lease. And I would fully expect to have film and TV around for 66 years, but who knows? Maybe something else back then. But what is our range and parameters to deal with the space that's part of this joint occupancy?
Well, as far as the district space, the 25,000 square foot MPT, I forget this initials. But anyway, the district space that you can, in fact, under the government code, exempt yourself from local land use controls. Now, with respect to the DSA matter, the entirety of the project, not just the district space, but the entirety of the project is going to be DSA compliant.
Okay.
So
can you explain that a little further? Because
sure,
DSA standards can at times be different than city standards.
Sure, absolutely. Well,
so how does that get married together, and who pays for the process? How does the process get essentially handled?
Well, remember that the developer, whoever you select, the developer is responsible for the entitlement, the construction, and the permitting. And they would have to work with DSA. Of course, they would coordinate with the district. That goes without saying. But all of that work is on the developer to obtain DSA approval as well as city entitlement approvals.
Okay. Were those costs all factored into the proposals?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Was there any differences in terms of the way each of the developers proposed to handle that?
I believe the Hackman MBS proposal suggested that there would be financial savings if we did not do the entirety of the project DSA compliant, but all the other proposers complied, and ultimately the Hackman proposal does in fact include DSA compliance, although they did suggest that things could make it different if we wanted them to be, and we did not.
Okay, so definitely a point of clarification I want to make sure we had here. And the last piece, and this, I know this is raised in one of the protest letters, and I just want to be sure, because we did go through an RFP a little while ago, which we canceled, and I know there were some concerns about communications process, and I think we ultimately, I forget how it how it ended up coming out, but there was concerns about communications here. One of the letters raised, and I forget which one off the top of my head, but it is probably Mr. Resnick. I know you wrote a few to us. So I'm trying to remember what letter, but it's not yours. Maybe one of the others raised an issue about violation of the communications clause. I wanted to see what the response to that was, and when that period is. I mean, are we in that period continually, or does it end after? What is it exactly, and how do the concerns come about?
Well, I believe that Mr. Resnick may be able to address it more accurately, but if I don't get it right, I'm sure he'll correct me. The references are to letters of support for the Hudson Pacific proposal that were received by the district after the close of the bidding and after the evaluation. So those communications, although not improper, but they came even, I'm going to say even if so, but they're not improper, and moreover, they came after the evaluation process. So there was no improper communications.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I had.
Thank you. I'll go back to the online group. Trustee Moreno, any additional questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
General Counsel, a member of the public wants to make a comment.
It's at the discretion of the board. If the board has a specific question for him, where you can allow him to make the comment for 3 minutes if you'd like, it's the board's discretion.
Trustee, I mentioned his name, so if he wanted to clarify the comment.
And is there any objections to giving the gentleman a 3-minute opportunity to comment? Sir, if you can just hold on. It's going to be limited to 3 minutes. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't go further than that. First of all, I want to make sure that there's no objection from any board member. Okay, seeing none, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, President Berlin. I don't even need 3 minutes. I just wanted to point out to you that attachment C, which is part of your staff report, where Mr. Randolph says it's 373,000 square feet of office. Attachment C itself tells you 72,000 of that is soundstage, so deduct that. 50,000 is production facilities, deduct that. So the only office space left is 251,000 square feet, which is 45% of the project. Less than half of the project is office. That's the bottom line. It's in your report there. So again, our main concern is, and I'm not here telling you you have to award this to Hackman. The reality is 3 other bidders put 0 space for the studios. And these other 3 bidders were reading the RFP, reading your addendums, meeting with staff. Are you telling me that 3 other major developers didn't understand the RFP? So to Trustee Moreno's question, is this primarily an office? Clearly not, because 53% of Hudson's project is not. And why is that important? Because it completely changes the economics. How much rent the district can get from office versus studios, the timing, the cost of construction. It is not apples to apples. So the reason Hackman raised the protest, joined in by Lowe last week, and as of yesterday by Lincoln Properties, they're all objecting. They're saying, well, give us that chance. If you want a studio project, tell us. We'll build that. We'll bid on that. But what you're going forward with now is a project that was never contemplated by anyone. And that's the unfairness of the process. It's unfair to the public. It's unfair to the folks in Culver City who thought, the Raintree group who thought this is an office project. Now go tell them, no, it's a sound studio. It's a mass media project. This is not transparency. And that's the problem. All we're asking is be fair. If somebody else should get it, look, Lowe came in number 2 on the rankings. I mean, who knows? The point is, this is not responsive. The Hudson proposal is not responsive to the RFP. And you need to confront that. That's the bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just can I follow up on the point there?
Right. I just want to make sure that in any back and forth, we don't risk anything with regard to the process. That's the something I'm concerned about in the interaction with questioning. So I would ask council if you know, to make sure that we're on a clear path.
So, yeah, thank you for that. And the point's been raised by my colleague in the World Wide Web here, and as well as Mr. Resnick now. But you know, I just wanted to point out, I actually had a different read of primary. Did we in our RFP indicate that primary meant 50% plus one?
Either my hearing's getting worse or the acoustics are strange back there. I asked you to replace repeat the question.
Sure. I wanted to ask whether in our RFP that the word primary meant that we define it. Do we define it as 50% plus one or a certain ratio? Because when I initially, you know, when I saw the materials, and I'm going to say this is my logic, it's my logic, that I can take, you know, the attachment C, and I could say 19% of that is soundstage, 13% of that is production office, you know, 2% of that is retail, and then 47% of that, 46 and a half, whatever that number is exactly, I forget, I just scribbled it here. I view primary, I guess, differently, but I just want to be sure that I'm not wrong with the way I view that. And I want to sort of acknowledge the points raised in the letter, but if it clearly says 50%, then okay. But I didn't see that in the RFP, and I didn't sort of acknowledge that. I've just acknowledged multiple uses, and I listed those that the board put on the table in our resolution. So we had sort of envisioned very early in the process that there could be multiple things. So I just want to be sure that the RFP is not a set percentage or more, and that the way that I've interpreted it is appropriate legally.
I can confirm to you that the RFP did not include an objective measurement for what primary was. It is a subjective decision. It's within your within limits. It is within your discretion. If we came in here with a, oh my gosh, you know, 90% soundstage and 10% office space, that I think is, you know, obviously is an example of where primary wouldn't play. But in terms of the RFP itself, there was no no objective standard in the RFP.
Okay. Now, as I mentioned, my interpretation, so essentially the interpretation I'm making is appropriate. And I can even say it's primarily still office, considering the other functions are smaller percentages of that, even if I wanted to use that argument.
Even if, I'm sorry?
Even if I wanted to use that argument, it's appropriate.
You know, it's funny. It's everything we do up here has to, you know, is within your reasonable discretion.
Okay.
And if, you know, for me, that would be fine. Would someone else maybe see that differently? Of course, I think there people would. But I believe your interpretation is, to my mind, reasonable and appropriate.
I guess I want to say, and I'll end with this, that all the various correspondence we received, I took very seriously in my consideration and deliberation. And many of my questions are meant to sort of line up and sort of deal with issues in my head that were floating. But I wanted to get to the point where, you know, if that's the primary conversation, to be clear with that. And I do feel that that's clear for me now. So thank you. And I have no further questions. Sure.
Trustee President Bona, I do want to just mention that, you know, some of us are in committees. For example, I chair the facilities committee, so there's constant communication regarding some of these proposals. We also reserve the right to call staff once we read various proposals in anticipation to board meetings, in anticipation to the April meeting where we were presented. So I just want to make sure that people understand we do have subcommittees, not just the board that meets. We do have an athletics facilities committee meeting. We do have facilities as well. And then we also meet with our facilities team to actually create the agendas for our facilities committee. So, you know, it's a little bit tough probably for the general public unless they're either televised to know that. Obviously on our website, you will see our special special board meetings and also our committee meetings. Several of them also discuss budget. They also discuss legislation. I also chair the Public Affairs and Legislative Committee that works with the state and feds and county on legislation. So I do think that that clarification, at least for me and my colleagues, I would like to let you all know that I do have constant communication with Dr. Ruben Smith. I tend to ask questions before I head to our board meetings out of respect to you all, my colleagues. So, but yeah, anyway, just wanted to make sure I iterated that on my behalf. Thank you.
So I'm doing a final round. Trustee Eno?
No further questions. I mean, like
Thank you.
Trustee Bella said, I've reviewed everything that's been sent and everything that's been heard, and I've asked a lot of questions prior to today as well.
Thank you, Trustee Eno. Trustee Callahan?
No additional comments.
Final round online. Trustee Moreno?
Yeah, no more questions.
Trustee Hoffman?
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Trustee Henderson?
No questions. Thank you.
I'll take a motion to approve item X9 on the agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Eno. Is there a second?
I'll second the
Second by
matter.
Trustee Vettis.
President Bona, just to be sure, the motion is
X9.
but it's X9, but it's letters, as the staff recommends, letters I through H. Yes, it's a pretty long one. I know we're just, for the record, General Counsel, would it be necessary to read the whole thing? Because it is, the recommendation is much longer than the actual brief item, but I just want to be sure.
Right. I think the question from Trustee Vettis is that the item is X1 through X9, but since we already voted through on X1 through X9 and excluded X6 and X9, and we already did X9, does the motion X6, do we need to say,
No,
I'm not sure what.
Trustee, sorry, I just want to be clarified that the short description says determine the Hudson Pacific Properties is a successful proposer. However, in the staff report, there's a recommendation. So I just want to be clear because the way it's listed as the determination, and what's in the body of the item is a recommendation. So I'm just trying to get clear on that.
On what you're asking what X9 is?
Yes, because it's agendized as a determination, but there's a recommendation also in the body. So I'm assuming that Trustee Eno was making a motion on the recommendation as listed I through H.
The motion from the board would be to direct staff to begin negotiating exclusive negotiating agreement with Hudson Pacific. The item identifies a number of statutorily procedural requirements like the no longer than 66 years, the response to the RFP. And so it's not necessary for the motion itself to read the procedural requirements or the parameters of the ENA.
Right.
So the motion is to direct staff to begin exclusive negotiating agreement with Hudson Pacific.
Okay, that's why I wanted to be clear because determination is the first. We don't do these very often. So when it says determination on the agenda, I just want to be clear with what we're saying.
And plus we're on the record. So just to be very clear for regular trustees here, X9.
X9, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Directing staff to negotiating an ENA with Hudson Pacific.
Okay, and that clarity was very important. So I appreciate that. Okay. And we have a motion and we have a second. A motion by Trustee Eno, second by Trustee Vettis. Are there any additional comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student Trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
Trustee Henderson,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Eno,
Yes.
Trustee Moreno,
No.
Trustee Vella,
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next item, moving on to item Y under Human Services. So again, staff has given me a lot of yellow to read. Item number 1, before we proceed to vote on the next two action items with regard to employment actions for college presidents and district evaluate and executives, I will read the following language for the record. Pursuant to Government Code 54953 C-3, which is part of the Brown Act, we are required to make an oral summary of proposed action and the salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for all executive level positions as defined in subdivision D of the Government Code, section 3511.1, during the open meeting in which the final action is to be taken. In our case, we need to provide such summary for positions such as chancellor, the vice chancellors, and the college presidents. The agenda item now before us includes an employment action for interim president of Los Angeles Trade Tech College, Dr. Robert Miller, from August 1, 2022 to August 30th, 2022. Salary placement of step 5, $22,435.43 per month of the vice chancellor and college president salary schedule. He will receive the $500 per month car allowance and will be entitled to the same health and welfare benefits as received by other unrepresented classified administrators, including retiree health benefits. After reading the summary, may I have a motion and a second on item Y?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Vella,
I'll second.
trustee Hoffman second. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Next item, next in the employment action for the interim president of Los Angeles Trade Tech College, Dr. Kathleen Burke, from August 31, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, with salary placement in step 5, $22,435.43 per month of the vice chancellor and college president salary schedule. She will receive a $500 per month car allowance and will be entitled to the same health and welfare benefits as received by other unrepresented classified administrators, including retiree health benefits. May I have a motion and a second on item Y2?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Vella, second by trustee Hoffman. Is that correct, trustee Hoffman?
She said first. No, I'll give her the
Okay,
first.
trustee, that Y2 is motioned by trustee Hoffman, seconded by trustee Vella. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any additional comment? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote,
Abstain.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Moving on to item Z, academic affairs and student travel. May I have a motion and a second on item Z1?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Eno.
Second. Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, go
trustee.
ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
Second by trustee Vella. Are there any comment on item Z1?
Very excited for this one. Have fun, send pictures.
Thank you. Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes. Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes, and if I go, I'll pay my way.
And
Trustee Vettis.
chat. Oh, sorry, there's one more vote.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Chas Rodriguez has one comment.
Yes, just for the board's information under this item, this authorizes an additional 5 faculty and staff. Last month, the board authorized 30, so LACCD will have 35 representatives traveling to Ghana in September. I'm very proud of that. You should be too.
Thank you very much. May I have, moving on to item AA, may I have a motion and a second on item AA1?
So moved.
Trustee Vella moved, second.
Second, Callahan.
Second by
Callahan.
trustee Callahan. So trustee Callahan, is there any comment? Seeing none, roll call?
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Announcements and indications of future proposed action by members of the Board of Trustees. And this. So, hold on, student trustee Hoffman. Trustee Hoffman, student Callahan called this first, about an hour and a half ago. So student trustee Callahan.
Yes.
Yeah, so, surprised that everybody is a student trustee today. I'll try to keep this short. For the next academic year, I will be full, I guess throughout the fall, but throughout the academic year, I'll be conducting a series of one-on-one interviews with the ASG, O and U presidents, and that will lead in with the intent of leading into a, I guess you would call it a student engagement initiative / campaign, which I intend to leave as a project for the next trustee. So I'm currently looking into getting that started, and I'll leave it at that for now. Definitely a lot of things on the back burner, but I'll have more information in future meetings. Thank you.
Trustee Eno, anything?
As far as what I've been doing as a trustee? Yes.
Or future agenda items
Oh,
or?
no. Oh, future agenda items. Yes, I do plan to bring back the API advisory committee to the chancellor. So
Oh, excellent.
that's been coming.
Trustee Vella?
Yeah, we have the next LGBTQI Advisory Committee, Chancellor's Advisory Committee on September 13th, 2 to 4 p.m. I want to thank Deborah Harrington and Felipe Agredano for helping us put that together. And then also this weekend is Downtown LA Pride. And I don't know, we were able to meet the deadline on participating. However, I know I'll be there, promoting the district. We usually do. And then we had a very successful, I think we did like 3 Pride parades this year. I want to thank specifically, again, Deborah Harrington, Felipe Agredano for getting us up on the floats, on the bus, Michael Fuller before he left. Who's the other gentleman? Ben Gilman. Because it was out of control. I think we got on the LA Times front page or something. Anyway, it was a very robust Pride time, I would say. So thank you to you trustees for always supporting the committee and its activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Trustee Vettis, anything?
No.
Trustee Henderson, anything?
Nothing. Thank you.
Got it. Trustee Hoffman?
Thank you, Chair Vella. Colleagues and Chancellor, I know we have committee meetings on August 17th. I have a conflict. I have a meeting at 2 o'clock that I can't miss. Is there a way I can move the budget committee around a little bit? Because I think it might be an important meeting to have. I don't want to cancel it. But can you and I work together, and colleagues that join me on budget, is it okay if I either make it a little bit earlier or a little bit later?
Trustee Hoffman, I think you've shown the ability to text me and call me.
Okay.
So we can go over that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it public because I know we have staff that support that committee as well.
We will accommodate anything that you need, Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got it. All right. Trustee Moreno?
Nothing.
All right, seeing none. Public comment. Guadalupe, are there any items? Are there any persons signed up for matters not on the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, next item. Guadalupe, are there any persons signed up to address the board on closed session matters?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none. Item moving on to DD. The board will recess to closed session in accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, Government Code Section 54950, exequatur, and the Education Code to discuss the matters on the posted closed session agenda item. to Government Code Section 54954.5. May I have a motion to recess to closed session?
So moved.
Is there an, it's moved by trustee Eno, seconded by trustee
Callahan.
Second.
Callahan? Okay, Callahan. Comments, just roll call on that?
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yeah.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
So, trustees, we're gonna take a 10-minute, between a 10-minute and 15 bio and walking break, closed session. So let's just make that 15 minutes, okay? Everyone there.
Recording stop.